Welcome to the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect. My name's Jared Mello, and I'm the Shepherd of Black Sheep. We've actually got a few cool things going on with the case today. The first one is, and Brian Etten just released a short on this, that there's a person detained south of Tucson. Now, they're not saying if it's a suspect or not, but they're detained for questioning. That is huge, honestly. The next thing to go over would be the pictures of the suspect that got released here. That is something that, we can look into this here, but there's been a couple pictures they've released. Pretty interesting. It looks like he has a mustache underneath the mask that he's got on, but he's covered up pretty good. So you can't really see much. You can kind of see a body type, but that's really it. Another big announcement, there's been activity in the Bitcoin address from the people that sent the ransom note. I don't know what that means. I don't know what's in there, but that's another thing that Brian Etten has reported. Bella, how are you? Kat, better watch out for those private eyes. They're watching you. Although I prefer she's sitting with you, but her eyes are on the door. Mac and Cheese, what up? Nikki, welcome to the chat, Nikki. Sure does, and he can always shave it off. Yes, this is true too. But it looks like, yeah, he definitely has a mustache under there, but you can really only see the body type. But I was trying to reflect back to, okay, does the son-in-law have a mustache? I don't think he does, but I could be wrong about that. I can't remember what his face looks like because no one's talking about him. No one's talking about the son-in-law right now. Like, where is he? What does Savannah think about him? What does Annie think right now? So many questions unanswered here. Cat. Sharon says they SIS a $300 deposit in the Bitcoin account. What does SIS stand for? So it's like a practice, a trial run there. I don't know what it could mean. Jacqueline, hello. A bearded lady. What do you think this is? A circus sideshow, Cat? Do you think they're all black sheep out there? The bearded ladies? Hot tamales, welcome. Our correct opinions. Can't imagine it would take long for someone to identify the person on camera. Honestly, I don't know how they would. I mean, you can see the body type, but that's really it. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what kind of eye technology they can kind of zoom in on. Okay, can you get their retinas and you can cross-examine that with something? I don't know. In this day and age, I don't know what our law enforcement is capable of, honestly. I don't know what the government is capable of. Like, what do they need to get an ID on you? Given the technology we have today, what do you need? I don't know the answer to that question. Do all you need is your eyes? I mean, think about it. How many people have a facial recognition to log on to their phones or to open their phones or to open Facebook or fill in the blank, right? You can, they can see your face. They recognize you. So how much of their face do you need to see? I don't know the answer to that. JD, welcome. Yes, JD, this is very true. We're going over that first. There's someone south of Tucson that is detained for questioning. They're saying it's not a suspect, but which makes you wonder, why are they being detained? Maybe they saw Nancy? Brenda, welcome. Don't forget, welcome. You might be right about that, Hot Tamales. I couldn't tell. I don't know what their eye color was. Hey there, Lisa. Yeah, don't get your hopes up too much because they just said it's detained for questioning. They didn't say it was a suspect. But that could change. Again, I think they could be not telling us everything. So even if it was a suspect, maybe they're not telling us. That's possible too. Tim, welcome. Don't you be talking bad about my eye color like that. I'm a hazel-eyed folk. Welcome from New Zealand, land of Lord of the Rings. When you go to the New Zealand airport, the big city there escapes me. There's like a huge Smeagol in the New Zealand airport. Turtle, welcome. Oh, our correct opinion is saying green, hazel, or brown. Danielle, welcome. Danielle, you must be getting some of those funny feelings because there's going to be some of your girl today. Maureen's going to make a guest appearance, but our friend Kat is not going to like who she made a guest appearance on. Sad to say. Thank you very much for this, Lisa. She's getting the party started with a super sticker. I love it. Love to see it. So again, if you're here, Montana, welcome. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Super chats are the best way to get a question answered if you have one. Stickers also are very helpful, and memberships help support the channel too. Well, Tim, I will not blow it for you, but I'll say you might have to brace yourself. But we have a great flock of black sheep here today, as always. I talk a lot about true crime, current events, and I use my experience with narcissism, mental health and addiction, and overall just my wizardly life experience, and I apply it to those things. Let's hope so, Lisa. From, what do they say? From your lips to God's ears. We are on that path. We are on that path, Lisa. And I'm very grateful for you all to helping me get to that path. Because we're flying. We're flying high. But here's the other self-help lesson I've learned in my life. You can't get arrogant or cocky because those who are arrogant quickly get humiliated. And I've experienced that a lot in my life. It can be tempting to start acting like braggadocious or grandiose. But pretty much every time I've ever done that, life humbles me pretty quickly. So even when I'm successful, it's important to me to be humble because, one, it's the right thing to do. Two, I know life tends to punish me, so I don't. Livin', welcome. Just make sure you head over. Yeah, I like how you put that. Living's got a way with words, they say. Absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely. So let's hop in, though, to Brian and Short here. No long video today from Brian. He got a few shorts. We'll play all of them, I guess, because it's only going to take a little bit of time here. Look at that. 5 shorts he's done today. He's busy bee. Busy bee.
All right, guys. So these new photos of the suspect in the Nancy Guthrie case are just released. I'm just still taking it all in. I mean, they're so frightening. According to Kash Patel, over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Office have been working closely together with their private sector partners to continue to recover images and videos from Nancy Guthrie's home that may have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible. And the video was recovered from back-end systems, and they were able to release these photos of images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door. And you can see, I mean, he is totally covered with that face mask.
An armed individual tampering with the cameras. So, of course, this is him, right?
With gloves, he's got a backpack, a jacket, long pants. I mean, take a very close look at this, because this is the best we have. It looks like, I noticed flowers on the ground. Many of you did too when we got the video up close. And I don't know if he was using those flowers to pull the Ring camera, because you can see in that photo, but he's totally covered from head to toe. If you have any information, obviously reach out to the FBI. All right, guys, so these new photos of the suspect in the Nancy Guthrie case are just released. I'm just still taking it all in. I mean, they're so frightening. According to Kash Patel, over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Office have been working closely together with their private sector partners to continue to recover images and videos from Nancy Guthrie's home that may have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible. And the video was recovered from back-end systems, and they were able to release these photos of images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door. And you can see, I mean, he is totally covered with that face mask, with gloves.
So totally covered. Look at him. Body type. Whose body type does he have? It looks like, I would say, what? 185 to 200, around 5'10, it looks like. But that could be anybody.
Hey guys, so I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house. A few developments here based on the video that is out and the pictures of the suspect at the front door. I am hearing from a lot of former FBI sources that I have that they believe that they are nitrile gloves that he's wearing, maybe on top of other gloves, maybe not. I'm told these are not medical grade. They are not gloves that law enforcement use. They're gloves that like mechanics, that kind of job would use these gloves. They kind of just look like, I mean, they don't look really special at all. But this is what I'm hearing is likely the glove that was used. So that's the latest here at Nancy. At Annie Guthrie's house, there's a search happening right now, FBI and sheriff's office out there. And they are going door to door. We talked to one neighbor who said they came looking for video, and they're also searching.
That's good news. They're searching for. I'm surprised they haven't done that already, honestly. I mean, wouldn't that have been like the first day or two thing to do? Go to the neighbors. Can we see your Ring camera? Can we see your Nest footage? I mean, it took them 8 days to do that. I don't know about that.
The brush around Annie Guthrie's house. So there's been stuff going on at Nancy's. There's been stuff going on at Annie's. And obviously the big deal is just that these pictures are out. So hopefully someone will recognize something. Hey guys, so I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house. A few developments here based on the video that is out and the pictures of the suspect at the front door. I am hearing from a lot of former FBI sources that I have that they believe that they are nitrile gloves that he's wearing, maybe on top of other gloves, maybe not. I'm told these are not medical grade. They are not gloves that law enforcement use. They're gloves that like mechanics, that kind of job would use these gloves.
So I guess he's using those gloves to not leave behind fingerprints, is what I would guess. It seemed like it was a very cognizant person that knew exactly what they were doing. All right, we don't really want to leave DNA here. He still might have, but it looks like they were trying to be careful.
All right, guys, a couple of big updates here happening right now with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. First of all, TMZ is now reporting that there is movement in the Bitcoin account. Does that mean that Savannah Guthrie is paying the ransom? I don't know, but TMZ is reporting movement in the Bitcoin account. Really, only TMZ can report this because they're the ones who got the first ransom letter and they're the ones who have the Bitcoin address. So we kind of just have to trust what they're reporting because we have no way to verify it. But that's what they're saying. Also, there's been activity at Annie's house. I was telling you there's also 2 SWAT trucks that moved out of the sheriff's office about an hour ago. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. But what's interesting with what's happening at Annie's house is, I mean, it's dozens of FBI agents that were over there going.
So what keeps on happening to Annie's house? What do you think that is? I mean, does this lend credence to the fact what Angela Banfield was saying, that the son-in-law Tommaso is a suspect? I mean, why else would they continue to be going over there like this? I imagine Tommaso lives with Annie, right? I mean, that's not even something I'm aware of, though, so I could be wrong about that. So if someone knows in the chat, does Tommaso live with Annie? No one's mentioned that to me yet, but I would imagine, right? And I imagine they must think that Nancy was there at a point. I imagine. And maybe if it was just before the whole outing, I don't know.
Door to door. One of the neighbors told us that the FBI agents asked for consent to search his property and said because they are looking for something that may have been dropped, which I thought was interesting. That's what they told the guy who lived there. So that's the latest. But the main thing is that's brand new is the activity in the Bitcoin account.
So what do you all think the activity in the Bitcoin account is? Jay in the chat saying there's $300. I haven't heard the amount yet, but I'll take his word for it. But what do you think it was? Just a trial run just to make sure the address worked, or something else is going on with it?
I'll keep you guys posted. All right, guys, a couple of big updates here happening right now with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. First of all, TMZ is now reporting that there is movement in the Bitcoin account. Does that mean that Savannah Guthrie is paying the ransom? I don't know, but TMZ is reporting.
If she only paid $300, I mean, what is that about? I mean, they wanted way more. I wouldn't be paying though without proof of life. Why would I be paying a dime without proof of life? I don't know. I don't know what the point of that would be.
Movement in the Bitcoin account. Really, only TMZ can report this because they're the ones who got the first ransom letter and they're the ones who have the Bitcoin address. So we kind of just have to trust what they're reporting because we have no way to verify it. But that's what they're saying. Also, there's been activity at Annie's house. I was telling you, there's also two SWAT trucks that moved out of the sheriff's office about an hour ago. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. But what's interesting with what's happening at Annie's house is, I mean, it's dozens of FBI agents that were over there going door to door. One of the neighbors told us that the FBI agents asked for consent to search his property and said because they are looking for something that may have been dropped.
So, chat, what do you think may have been dropped? I'm asking you because I really don't know. What could it possibly be that they dropped? Some sort of weapon? Gloves? Something that matches the suspect at the door there? But what do you think, chat? I don't know.
Which I thought was interesting. That's what they told the guy who lived there. So that's the latest. But the main thing is that's brand new is the activity in the Bitcoin account. I'll keep you guys posted.
All right, that's that one.
Hey guys, so something else new. I have just confirmed that the FBI's hostage rescue team, it's called the HRT, the hostage rescue team, is on the ground in Tucson, which is a big deal. I mean, it's an incredibly elite unit within the FBI. There's the FBI SWAT team, but then they also have the hostage rescue team. Those are the people who go in and try to save people who are being held hostage. They're in Tucson right now, and the sense is that there's like movement happening possibly tonight. We confirmed that the SWAT teams that left the Pima County Sheriff's Office, that movement was in relation to the Nancy Guthrie case, whether they were just going somewhere else to stage or whether there is actually something that's going to be happening tonight. I don't know. But the sense, I mean, there's a lot of things moving around right now because we have a camera at the Sheriff's Office. We have a camera at Annie Guthrie's house. I'm still at Nancy's. It feels like things could be happening. And hopefully it's good news at some point with in regards to Nancy. But I just wanted to keep you guys posted because that hostage rescue team from the FBI is a big deal.
Hostage rescue team. Interesting. What do you think that could mean?
Hey guys, so sources tell me that a person has been detained in the Nancy Guthrie investigation south of Tucson. That is all I know right now. I am being told this person is not being called a suspect, but they have someone detained who is being questioned right now south of Tucson, which may connect back to the SWAT team movement that we saw earlier. And just all of the action that's been happening over the last couple of hours. So I know it's really basic, but
So suspect detained south of Tucson, not a suspect. I said suspect, didn't I? Person detained south of Tucson who is not a suspect, just for questioning. Could it be actually a suspect and they're just not letting us know? Maybe. I wouldn't rule that out. But who could it possibly be? Could it be Tommaso? I mean, would they tell us if it was? I don't think they would.
All I have confirmed myself is that a person has been detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I am going to try to keep getting a little bit more information, and I will keep you guys posted. But this is south of Tucson. This person is not being called a suspect at this point, but has been detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house. And I'll let you guys know if I learn anything else soon. All right, talk to you guys in a bit. Hey guys, so sources tell me that a person has been detained in the Nancy Guthrie investigation south of Tucson. That is all I know right now. I am being told this person is not being called a suspect, but they have someone detained who is being questioned right now south of Tucson, which may connect back to the SWAT team movement that we saw earlier and just all of the action that's been happening over the last couple of hours. So I know it's really basic, but all I have confirmed myself is that a person has been detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I am going to try to keep getting a little bit more information, and I will keep you guys posted. But this is south of Tucson. This person is not being called a suspect at this point, but has been detained for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house, and I'll let you guys know.
So it seems like some developments are occurring here. It seems like we're in a couple days. We might be finding out a lot more, but we'll see. So we're going to follow our friend Maureen now to a place some of you might not like, but it is what it is. What we do for true crime, you know? Now, the problem here is also she changes up her thumbnails. There they are.
I'll just say it. To me, he looks younger than the brother-in-law. His mustache looks black, and the brother-in-law's is gray. And the brother-in-law's eyes are more hooded than appear in this guy. Okay, so I don't mean to beat up on the brother-in-law, but since he's been out there, I will say, to me, this doesn't look like it's a match, but we'll find out. The FBI is going to know this very, very soon. But if this is the guy, all right, let me start with this.
Thank you, Livin, for letting me know about that. Mike, thank you. How long have they had the Nest footage? 7 days? I don't know how long they've had it because they don't tell us everything. They just released it today, but I don't know how long they've had it because what they were saying was there was no subscription. And when there's no subscription, it just goes on a loop. So I don't know the answer to that question. They might have had it 7 days ago, but they didn't release that picture until today. But thank you, Mike. See if I got others here. Okay, that was that. Okay, we're caught up. Thank you.
Does this look like a professional hitman to you? Like based on what you guys saw in that video?
If I can start with this, Megan, there are very, very few actual, legit, real, quote unquote, professional hitmen out there. Of course, the mob has some, the cartels have them, people like that. They'll take out mostly their own kind. But for professional, this alleged professional hitmen that Hollywood likes to talk about, there are very, very few in that regard. Now, it doesn't mean there's some freelancer out there talking to some guys, sees something on the dark web and says, hey, I could do something like this. What's the address? And this is what happens. But these cases of, again, hitmen, unless there's some lover triangle involved and somehow that's where the other party gets taken out, they're relatively, I would say, very rare, quite frankly. And Maureen, maybe you have more experience with that than my career, but they're just not seen very often.
Well, what about the cartel piece of it? Like that's where I left us before we left. Does this look to you like somebody who could possibly be affiliated with a cartel?
Here's the deal with the cartel, because I worked narcotics all those years. The cartel's job, if they're kidnapping someone.
And this is Maureen O'Connell, former FBI agent. I consider her part of the A-team. Her and Brian Etten, to me, are the A-team.
It's a hit and run operation, meaning you get in there, you get the hell out, you do whatever you can. You have it already set up for the ransom. You get that money and it's over, and you drop that victim off someplace and let her figure out how to reach out to her family so that you don't have to. I mean, it's a situation that's rapid, fluid, and the whole goal is to get money. That isn't at all what we've seen here. It's just been this crazy rigmarole, and in so many with so many data points, they don't even seem to coincide with one another. It's like, if you had her, prove that she's alive.
As I watch this, you guys, and I mean, we're all subject to our own priors and biases, right? But I'm thinking about the actress Rebecca Schaefer, and she was on My Sister Sam. She was a rising star. She starred with Pam Dauber. Remember her? This is back in the 80s.
Sure.
And she was the younger sister, and she had just gotten to Hollywood, and her star was rising.
Rebecca Schaefer, is she also on Full House? Was she Uncle Jesse's wife on Full House? Or am I thinking of someone totally different? Oh, that was Rebecca Romaine. No, that's in real life what her name was. But who is the actress on Full House that was married to Uncle Jesse?
And there was a man who became obsessed with her, who was watching her show, and she had not yet protected herself by figuring out how to put layers between you and the public.
Let's see what we got here. Mike says, Savannah's husband was a fixer for Clinton's. He is associated with the Clintons, and he is associated with the Democrat Party. I don't know exactly what he did for them, but he did have a firm, and we did go over some of this yesterday. But thank you, Mike.
She was easy to find. He rang the doorbell with a dozen roses, and she opened the door. And long story short, he murdered her right there on the doorstep because he was obsessed with her. I mean, because he was crazy, but he was functioning. He wasn't, fire breathing, walking down the sidewalk. People did not know he was crazy, but he was crazy, and he killed her. And I can't help but think whether this is a possibility with this guy who just, you can't rule it out that there was some obsession, obviously, with Savannah. I don't think many people would develop some weird obsession with an 84-year-old senior citizen, but it's possible that somebody was obsessed with Savannah, and she's, I believe, impossible to get to, but her mom's not.
Right.
And this guy seems kind of young. You can't totally tell, obviously, but to me, he looks kind of young, and
well, he's got that
young
Poochie.
is where the psychotic break happens. I know I'm really out on a limb here. I'm just saying this is an angle that deserves some discussion.
I agree, but I think we're forgetting something, or, we may not have gotten to the point where we notice something really important right now, and that is he's at the front door. The front door is not what they were talking about in those pressers. They were talking about
the back door, because the back door was wide open. Good call, Maureen. Good call.
Back door was left open, like he entered through the back door. And, was there, we still don't know from the sheriff if in fact there was forced entry. But if there wasn't forced entry, this person's at the front door. How'd they get in? So the forced entry is going to be key.
So if my memory serves, Ashley Banfield reported that there was forced entry, and the sheriff has steadfastly refused to comment on it. He won't say. And it is, maybe that's what the video shows next, because I don't think we've seen all the video, because we do not see the moment where he gets the Nest camera down. Ashley's reporting that these are Nest cams, not Ring cams, but we don't see the moment where it disconnects and goes dark. So clearly they didn't show that for some reason. And you're right. Ashley's also reporting that the back door was open and that the guy removed the Nest cam from the back door too. And that's strange. He's at the front door. He's going in the front door. We think he left the front door. Well, we don't see him go in. But we believe he exited through the front door, because that's where Nancy's blood was.
Right.
So clearly he at least attempted to leave with Nancy through the front door.
Oh.
So again, what we don't know, though, is how did that guy get there? Did he drive? Did he get dropped off? Did he walk from somewhere? Did they exit the back door? Doesn't seem like it, right? Like they just said, because of the blood on the front step. Very confusing case here.
Okay, but from a cartel standpoint, I can tell you right now, a cartel member is not going to hit that front door because it had a burglar gate on it. Those things are very hard to breach. Trust me when I tell you from experience. If I'm going to breach the door,
it had a what?
One of those burglar doors on it. The metal. It's all metal, and the frame is actually screwed sideways with 6, 8, 12-inch bolts into the side of the frame of the door.
This is true, Maureen. Thank you, Mike. Could be a woman, fake mustache, smaller features. Nothing's impossible, but I do think that was a guy. Thank you, though, Mike.
It's not something that you just put on. Those metal ones that look kind of Spanish, but you can't get through them. Yep. They're extremely hard to breach. Well, they're very hard to breach. So if that next video shows him trying to breach that door and he's good at it, that's going to be a person from a different at a different level. If it shows him running around
maybe
the
what
back
happened next is he went around. Yeah, maybe he went around to the back door and got in that way. And if that happened, like if there's video showing him struggling, he can't get the door open, and then he gives up and goes around to the back, then I think we can safely say it's somebody familiar with the property. Could be a landscaper, could be somebody, it's like the person knew exactly where the vegetation was and what they wanted to grab, and they did it. So it could be a friend or a family member who's familiar, but it could also be somebody like a groundskeeper,
right,
or someone who's just spent a fair amount of time on the property and knew immediately there's a back door that they should get to. And frankly, that would make some sense, because who that's breaking into a home like this and gets in through the front door after all this stuff we're watching on camera, then says, gee, maybe I should go disarm the Nest camera in the back door.
Makes
No
no
one's even
sense.
thinking about the back door.
Unless there's something we don't know. Again, we think it's one person now, and
again, there's so many things we might not know, which is it making it very hard for us to make educated guesses, because I don't think we're playing with a full deck here. And rightfully so, though, right? If you're the FBI and local law enforcement, why should you say everything you know if you think that might jeopardize the case? We're not entitled to any of it, right? So I totally get it. But I do think they're not telling us a lot.
I surmised earlier there could have been someone in a car. Obviously, we don't see the car out front, and we don't know if anyone would be in there or not. There has to be a car, I would think, for this person to make his egress, not just, of course, from the house, but from the street and from the whole neighborhood. So why the back door would be involved here? Was there some sort of a tentative walk around there to check it out at some point, and he decided out of the two doors, which one is the one easier to break into, to break down? That's unknown and will have to be determined, of course, later. There's a determination which way the person came in as opposed to which way the person left. I don't know that either, and hopefully the investigators do know. But more camera information, of course, will tell us about all of that.
So again, the guy, we're presuming it's a guy. It's not impossible. It's a woman, but that looked like a guy's body type to me. That was at the front door, but the back door is wide open. So where does that come into play here? Because you would think, okay, well, maybe if he went in through the front door, he bolted out the back door with her. Maybe. But then again, the blood's on the front step. So then that confuses me in terms of the back door. Now, what could explain that, though? Maybe there was more than one person involved. Maybe one person went out the back door, one person went out the front door. I don't know. We just don't know.
There's a couple of accounts on X that have tried to make the contrast higher on the photos and even bring out some color. We grabbed just one of them. This is from somebody who goes by Sophie on X. And you can see a little bit more clearly. The gloves look black, 100%. They don't look brown.
And leather.
And definitely leather. To me, the jacket.
So again, does this look like a woman to you? I don't think so. I mean, to me, it looks like a guy's body type, but that's just me. And it looks like a mustache, but again, that could be a fake mustache, even if it's a guy, just to kind of throw people off the scent, right? If you're going to take all these precautions, would it be completely out of the realm of possibility to wear a fake mustache? No, absolutely not.
I don't know. Looks gray with.
All right. Some people said eyeliner there. Interesting.
Lighter pants. I can't really tell. There's definitely, what's that, Steve? There's a close-up of the face. I mean, he's got pretty wide eye. I mean, it's weird. He actually looks like he's wearing eyeliner to me in a way. He's got like, you see what I mean?
Yep. In
like
first
underneath
image,
his
I
eyes.
thought it was like swimming goggles almost. It looked like when I first saw it on my phone, that little first one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like there's something in his mouth. I can't tell what it is. Maybe that's his
camera.
little light.
I'm sorry, light. Yes, light.
It's, yeah, the light. But it's a slim, it's almost like it's a slim horizontal thing. I would have expected a round, I don't know how flashlights come that could go into your mouth, but it does appear to be like a long, flat, like rectangular thing in his mouth. And the eyes look big, round, and like they have eyeliner, which typically means the person has black hair, because trust me, we blondes, we do not look like.
But here's the other thing. He might be wearing fake contacts. He could be doing any number of things, or even if it's a she, they might be doing any number of things to make it harder to detect them. Absolutely. Could be a thing.
We have eyeliner on when we are not wearing eyeliner, right? I mean,
Or he may have put
Maureen and I can
eyeliner
both
on
relate to
because that's
that.
the only part of his face exposed beside the lips. He may actually have eyeliner on.
Well, here's the other question I have for you, though. What about, I'll stand by. What? This is an aside. Brian Engine just reporting a pizza delivery man just showed up to Nancy Guthrie's house and was able to walk up to the front door without the deputies out front noticing. Oh, my Lord. Okay, let's go back to eyeliner man.
So a pizza delivery guy went up to Nancy Guthrie's house without people noticing. Was it one of the law enforcement that ordered it? Like what?
There's the fact that there's no car right behind him, you guys, is freaking me out. Because if you are showing up at this home to abduct a lady, an 84-year-old, aren't you going to put your car right there?
Not for a long period
right
of
there
time.
so you can get her in?
No, if you're afraid of a camera being there, you'd at least, you have to show yourself at some point, the mask, the jacket, all that stuff, hidden hair, gloves, but you don't want to have your car obvious to the camera. So that was somehow parked on an angle. Yes, it would make his job more difficult to carry, however he did it, Mrs. Guthrie out the door to the car itself. But he looks like he's big enough, hefty enough, not lanky as we were saying earlier, that he could probably carry the 150-pound woman to the car. And he would ideally like to have it closer, but from a tactical perspective or a counter forensic perspective, he wanted out of the sight of that camera. So that would make more sense there. So this guy, yeah, we got to give him credit, again, air quotes, where it's due. He is somewhat forensically sophisticated with gloves, with hat. Maureen's right. There could be touched, when you put the gloves on, leather gloves, there could be touched DNA on top of that, which then could be left in some other part of the house too. And that could be the break they're looking for. And a bunch of people are getting their mouths swabbed, I understand, pool people in the last 24 hours or so. And that could be a result of again, this video that's come out now. And they may have something.
Well, and a whole bunch of people are going to get ruled out quickly. If you've got more Asian eye, this is not an Asian man. I think we can say that. It's not a black man. We can say that. It's not a super tall man. We can say that. It's not
super thin man,
super slim man, but it's not a hugely obese man either. As a medium build.
Wait, before we move on from
they have very round eyes.
Before we move on from how slim he is, he could have something tucked under his jacket.
So honestly, chat, I don't really know anything about JLR. I've never watched him. So if you want to tell me about him, you can tell me about him, but I really know nothing about him.
The front to make him look fatter, or to make it look like he has a beer belly.
We thought that about the brown person, but that was ruled out eventually. He was fat.
I knew he was. I knew he was by the way he walked with those fallen arches on the inside. You could tell he was.
The brown shooter we're talking about.
You knew that
brown shooter. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, Brown University. Yeah. Hold on a second. This is okay. Who is this person? My team is sending me things that are helpful, but I got to figure out who this is. It's an investigative journalist at Town Hall who's estimating he's between 5'10" and 5'11". We don't know, but
But for my money, there's no better chemistry than Brian Etten and Maureen. And you can sense it, right? When you watch some of these other channels, you think, yeah, the chemistry is not as good, which makes you understand how special it is between Brian and Maureen.
Actually checking. He's looking at the bricks. This is actually a thoughtful analysis because he's looking at the bricks.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, Sweet Caroline, thank you very much. It doesn't seem opportunistic. She planned it with his clothing, in my opinion. Does not seem opportunistic. I don't know about that. I think that whole thing there is they planned that. They have the mask. They have everything there. So maybe not opportunistic is not the right word, but yeah, planned it. Yes. But thank you, Caroline.
That are there and coming up with an estimate based on the bricks and how big they typically are, how many inches they typically are, to put him at about 5'10" and 5'11". I mean, my own armchair analysis suggested he was about 6 feet too. Right. I can see that. Right. Let's see. We don't,
Can I mention something about the leather gloves?
Yeah.
So when you're taking your
no,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
When you're taking off your leather gloves, you take them off sometimes finger by finger, right? So you get your right hand off. Sometimes you just grab the whole, like this whole part, and pull. Other times you grab off finger to finger. Those, if there are fingerprints on the tips of those gloves and he touched things within the house, he could have transferred a fingerprint onto a hard surface. It is possible.
Mm. And right, or even just his DNA.
Yeah,
And yeah,
definitely DNA.
he can get rid of the gloves. That doesn't even matter then. It's his DNA then that is linked to the touch DNA found in the house. So the clothing material becomes irrelevant then.
And when you said, why
The
would you
odds of him
lose,
having touched nothing are slim.
Megan, when you said earlier, why would he take the body or whatever? I think obviously money was the motive. This is not an instance where, you know, we were speculating earlier on in this extravaganza we've been involved in, that maybe something went horribly wrong when there was an argument or something along those lines. That doesn't appear to be what happened now. It seems now this was a kidnapping or just a straight up murder where they removed the body. But remember you talked earlier when at the top of the hour where you were saying that, you know, if a gardener's fingerprints or DNA are in the house, that's one thing if he's in the kitchen or the restroom or something like that. But if it's on her bedding or on her nightstand, you know, that's a totally different deal. That may be why the body was removed if they went there just to kill her. But it's still looking more and more like a kidnapping at this point.
And somehow,
I mean,
but that somehow taken over by someone, you know, starting with these emails and this Bitcoin thing
Yes.
down the line.
can we say that,
Completely
Jim?
separate.
Like, let's talk about that just for 1 minute. Now that we know for sure someone was there. I mean, we knew because the Nest cameras were destroyed that somebody got her, but now there's just no denying it's literally right there on tape. Should we spend another minute on just 1 minute before we say goodbye to the ransom notes on whether there's a possibility they were real? I mean, maybe they were real. They were real and they've killed her now because they didn't get their payment. And now that's it.
Megan, I would argue if they were real and connected to this abductor, or quite frankly, not connected to this abductor that we're seeing the video images of, they would have shown proof of life. We discussed this at length yesterday, and I think, you know, Friday before we.
So again, if they wanted money, I think, and she was still alive, why wouldn't you show proof of life at that point if money was your goal? The only thing I can think of is you're afraid that somehow you'll get caught when you do proof of life. Because how do you show proof of life? You have to have a video, don't you? Like a present video of like letting her talk to Savannah or somebody. And in that process, maybe you're afraid you get caught because you do that. But again, what do you think the motivation was, chat? Revenge or money? Number 1's revenge, 2, money, 3, something else.
Signed off. This is if not unwritten, it's the written rule of kidnapping. Everyone realized you got to show this proof of life. And now we don't know what the Guthrie family did, if they made the payment or not last night, 6 million or more or less. So we don't know. But
we don't think so because TMZ has the Bitcoin account numbers and it's reporting today that there's no money in there, that no one has made a deposit in there.
But Megan, what if you listen to the FBI's statement that they put out, they said, we know of no other communication between the kidnapper and the Guthrie family. Jim can speak to this extensively, I'm sure. There are a lot of times where they'll find a side road into the family and set up a different account and whatever, right, Jim?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, in these types of deals, not for-profit kidnappings as we're seeing here, but where there's other hidden accounts that no one else allegedly knows about, and money could be deposited there. But yeah, there's just so many. This does change somewhat. We knew she was abducted, and I always was skeptical whether it was that it was for profit. Again, revenge or something else. If it's for revenge, something against the family, maybe.
Yeah, he's asking the same questions I am. Revenge, money, or something else? Because if it's revenge, what could it possibly be? Could it be the Clinton thing or the Democrat thing? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch in this case.
They just didn't want the family seeing the body in the house, and they wanted, to save the family from that. It almost sounds like that, there'd be some other set of rules put in there for them. this is so unusual on so many different levels and unprecedented that we're all learning here along the way, quite frankly. And the investigators know more than we do. And these videos add a lot to what we did have. But I think, Maureen, and you and I talked, about this, and Megan, we talked on the air. It doesn't surprise me that this is the kind of person that came to the door. We didn't rule out someone knows a young girl, hey, my car broke down. Can I use your phone? We didn't rule that out, but it's more likely going to be something like what we see here. Secretive in the middle of the night, well prepared, mission oriented. I use that term a lot, to get in the door, which they eventually did. Why 41 minutes in the door? That is still unclear in the house, I should say. But that will come out at some point probably. And then somehow this woman is carried out to a car parked at least a little bit down the driveway, out of the range of the camera. Then they had to decide what they're going to do.
On that front, a helpful Twitter user who goes by Chillinois has slowed down the video and where he approaches, and you can see that he is coming in from the left. We're going to show it. He's coming in from the side of the property right there. You can't quite see it in the video.
I didn't see this video part, so he's coming from the left.
We're showing, but he's coming in from the left, around the bend of the left there, which would be consistent with maybe he does have a car.
That's where the driveway is.
Smart enough not to. Yeah.
So lots of camera awareness there, right? Head down. Already got the mask on anyway.
Yeah, not to park it right in front where the Nest camera could get him.
Thank you very much for this, Mike. Perp has an odd gait, the way they are walking. Yeah, he might just be purposefully doing something, or she might be purposefully doing something. But thank you, Mike.
I mean, clearly you guys, you tell me, but clearly he had cased the joint prior, right?
No doubt.
No doubt.
He knew there was a Nest camera. He knew where to park and where not to park. He knew where the vegetation was. He seems pretty calm. He's not like panicking, running around, right? Like
he seems exceptionally
he cased
calm.
this joint.
Imagine.
Hey, how could that be?
He's been
Imagine
there before.
what you're about to do.
So how could that be? If you're a psychopath or something like that, you live for this. Like, if anything, you're excited. But you could easily be calm because you don't have that empathetic response, right? You're different. A lot of people just don't understand that those types of people, they are different than others. They're not going to act the way a normal human being would. And let's face it, most people that are capable of such a thing are probably disordered in some way. If I had to guess.
He's been there before, or someone he knows has been there before, and gave him a very distinctive and specific description of the place. I'm convinced of that.
But imagine the mindset of breaking into a house, destroying cameras. I mean, when you're prepping yourself for this act and you're walking up to the door, you pull out you've got your gun right there. For an 84-year-old woman, why do you even need a gun? Unless you're just trying to scare her into opening some safe, open some documents, something along that line, but nothing was missing. And then you're trying to prepare yourself for harming her, which it shows this offender, whoever he was, had a proclivity and a predisposition toward hurting people because she was bleeding on her way out. So there's just no doubt about that. You know, what type of offender can do this type of thing? What type of person, Jim?
Well, I would argue.
What type of person? Sweet Caroline, thank you very much. He planned it, dressed appropriately. I totally agree. Definitely planned it. The question is, on his own or with others? Thank you, Sweet Caroline.
You a psychopath, and on the scale of psychopathy somewhere, narcissistic, has no feelings of empathy, doesn't care about other people.
It's like this guy watches my channel. How about that?
And he just said, this is a mission I'm on. We don't know the purpose of the mission yet, the motivation that is.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a gang member. We don't know. Thank you for this, Mike. Feds look like total amateurs walking around lazy. I mean, I think there's a better argument that local law enforcement looked like amateurs, but I'm not sure what they're doing now. Maybe people are seeing it on another stream. But thank you, Mike.
But perhaps, profit-oriented to some degree. Just get rid of the body. Don't worry about the kidnapping part. And these other people kick in with the alleged kidnapping with the Bitcoin. So it's so far a mystery wrapped up in a riddle, but maybe the enigma part is left now that we see these videos. And this is going to generate a lot of activity on the part of this offender, as well as people that possibly know him. Again, Tucson, local to Tucson. Did he drive, all day long to get there, then left the scene? These are factors that we're going to have to determine. They say you don't want to poop where you eat. I'll be polite here.
Ha!
So I can't imagine this.
Poop where you eat. I'm going to read a Brian Etten tweet from Sheriff. Earlier today, Pima County Sheriff's Department deputies detained a subject during a traffic stop south of Tucson. So this is more details about the person they detained. The subject is currently being questioned in connection to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Additional information will be released as it becomes available.
This guy being a next door neighbor or even around the block, but from around the block. But they're going to keep all angles open and all avenues open to find out who this person is and not rule out geography as being a factor.
International disputes, inflation.
So that episode with Megyn Kelly and Maureen was earlier today. Brian Etten has no video today, other than the shorts that I already played. I thought there was a new Law and Crime Network video, but I guess I was wrong.
This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Bruschi, Stacey Cole, and Todd Michaels.
This is going to be interesting. 8 days into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, purported ransom notes have become the centerpiece of the public narrative. But
Well, we can check out profiler Pat Brown. I haven't checked her out for a while. Well,
And so I did want to come on here today to talk about my profile of this abductor and specifically about the gun. There's a lot of people, just all over the internet, just going crazy about saying who this is, pointing fingers at family, relatives. And I want to tone that down a little bit as a profiler and what I think the investigators are doing behind the scenes so that we have a more rational look at this without going so nutty. So if you would like to see my video, the 2-hour analysis, it's a link below in the description. And if you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe and hit the notifications. I may do more on this depending on if there's something to talk about. Well, here is something to talk about. All right, so I'll tell you what struck me first. First, I want to say I do not think this is a female. A lot of people are going there. Today, we always think that we can't leave women out of crime, which we can't. But oftentimes we have people jumping to, oh, it could be a woman, though. I don't think this is a woman. I do not. Just by the movements, the body shape, and all that, I do not think it's a woman. Now, having said that, in my analysis about this crime, I have suspected, and when I say suspected, I say this as a profiler or an investigator, in that as I would be studying this crime, I'm not coming to a 100% conclusion like people want you to, like somehow you're psychic and know exactly what happened. You're so brilliant inside, you can connect to the minds of the killer and you know exactly what happened. No, that is nonsense. It's not how it works. When you investigate a crime, you look at all the evidence, the facts, and you come up with things you can determine. You come up with concepts that, theories, and then you try to organize your investigations as to what you should focus on the most and what you should focus on a little bit and what maybe you shouldn't focus on at all. Like, no, this is not an alien from another planet. You can skip that one. So you want to be rational when you're looking at things. And so you know how much effort to put into the different avenues of investigation. So there's one person seen here. One of the questions I had is why does he care about that, the camera to begin with? Well, obviously because the camera can video, but the camera was killed, removed, not just covered, but removed. And so why do that? If you're just doing a home invasion, which some people have thought, and it's perfectly reasonable to think this could be just a home invasion gone wrong. Maybe it was a home invasion gone wrong, but why would you do the whole outside camera thing then? Because you're not taking anybody out of the house. So if you just cover the camera up so nobody, the camera did see somebody. There was not a subscription, but they finally managed to dig up this video and these images, regardless. Many days later, but still they managed to do it. So why bother? Why do that? If you're already covered up, why not just get the hell into the house, steal the crap you want to steal, hold the person hostage, do what you got to do and move on. Well, perhaps if they think the camera's still functioning and the videos are going out, that somehow there will be an alert sent out some ways. And I'm not sure how this camera worked or who would have access to the videos. So in other words, would they want to stop anybody seeing something in progress like a home invasion? But if that's true, why the heck bother to take Nancy Guthrie out of the house? So I personally do not believe this is a home invasion. I do believe this is an abduction. I don't believe it was, she was accidentally killed earlier and therefore somebody had to cover this up and this was a fake abduction. I don't think so. I think this was planned. I don't think the person or persons who planned it are particularly brilliant. There's some things here you go, you could have done that better, dude. So I think they're just, they're not professionals. I think somebody had some idea and the idea wasn't the most brilliant one. So I do think it was planned. She was returned home. This was the middle of the night. Somebody comes up there and kills the camera because the intention is to remove her from the home for some kind of attempt at a ransom. Although we still have no clue how accurate and how real the ransom notes were. There is some indication that there were things in the ransom note that appeared that the person knew things that they wouldn't know if they weren't there.
So the problem with doing other live streams and covering them is there's a lot of dead time. So if I go to that woman, Agonette Levy, it's also a live stream. So there's a lot of dead air in the live streams.
That's true, then they are ransom notes, even if they're pitiful attempts at ransom. Some people think the ransom notes are all totally fake, but it's hard to know from the outside of the investigation. So I really do not know. It does sound like after all this time, she's not alive and the family's just trying to get her back, her remains back. And it's not going very well because the deadlines have all passed. So what's going on? It is a little confusing, and it may be confusing because maybe idiots tried to do something that they weren't capable of doing. But let's go to this now. I want to go to him, who I think is a him. And the first thing one can say is that because there is photos and videos of at least the person in action, the sort of the body size, the height, the movements, some possible recognition of facial features, anything. This is very good for the family to be able to look at this and say, do they know this person? So if this really was a member of the family, you would think they would know pretty quickly now that, oh, hey, one of our own did this thing. I personally think that's unlikely, but let's say it's a friend of the family, a friend of a relative of the family, or some people think, oh, well, the son-in-law was in a band and the band had a guy that could be this guy. Well, maybe, but maybe it could be somebody who worked on the property, somebody who understood the layout. It could be a person who housekeeping, a pool person. It could be a person.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing interest in her, honestly.
Breaking new developments in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. You are getting a look at the person who may have taken Savannah Guthrie's mom in the middle of the night. The Pima County Sheriff's Department releasing this video of the suspect who allegedly tampered with the 84-year-old security cameras in the minutes before she disappeared. We're on the case presented by Law.
Oh, got a super chat from Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike says, did feds check neighbor's ring cam for any footage at 2 a.m.? You never know, a clue could pop up vehicle. Well, that's what they're asking about today, that they were going door to door, I think, asking for that. Among other things, they might have even asked about it before today, too. We just don't know about it. But thank you, Mike. So they're definitely doing that.
On crime, I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick, There Is a Reason On the Case is one of the top shows on YouTube, just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm of more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered video of the person who may have taken 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Get a good look at this video and these pictures. A person in a mask who the sheriff is describing as an armed individual who appears to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning that she vanished. The person has a backpack on and gloves. The sheriff says that they were only recently able to get these videos and images. The images were recovered from residual data, they say, that might have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible due to a variety of reasons, including the device being removed. The sheriff released the images in a tweet on Tuesday, now 10 days after Nancy disappeared. The sheriff's department wouldn't elaborate any further on details related to this person other than what you're seeing here, like where they think this person is now or what happened after the cameras were tampered with. We also don't know if this person was the only.
I'm gonna super chat. Thank you very much for this, Intuitive. So there is someone in custody. Does that now clear Tommaso from being suspect? I, for one, know it was someone else. Well, the person they detained is not a suspect. That person is south of Tucson. As far as we know, that person is not a suspect yet. So that doesn't clear Tommaso at all. But the sheriff and local law enforcement, the FBI, they've never said Tommaso's a suspect. The only person who did say that was Ashley Banfield, and she got that from her source in law enforcement. So who to believe? Do you believe Ashley and her source in law enforcement? Or do you believe the law enforcement on the scene? Or do you think, well, actually, Ashley's right. They're just playing it close to the vest, and they're not going to tell you that she's right. But thank you, Intuitive.
Person captured on surveillance video. Just that these are the images that they have been able to recover and release at this time. So I want to break down this first video where you see this person approach the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door. It almost looks like they're going to knock on the door, and then they try to cover the camera by putting their hand in a fist. Then seconds later, they step back from the camera toward the entryway of the front door. They lean down and they grab flowers or what looks like to be grass or brush. And then there's this second video here where it picks back up with the camera covered by those flowers or brush. And you see the person's knuckles, and then bam, the eyes of the suspect shine right into the camera. Now, there does appear to be some sort of bright light coming from the person's mouth. Is that a flashlight, or is it just some sort of reflection? Now, we are waiting.
Now, you've seen in movies, right? People put a flashlight in their mouth sometimes. You do see that occasionally, right?
For more information to be provided about this person and law enforcement's next steps in this case, as well as why they believe that the suspect was armed. But there is no doubt that this is the biggest development in this case since law enforcement say that Nancy was abducted 10 days ago. There are also some new details that were confirmed by the Guthrie family. So let's jump into the clarification on how the Guthrie family first learned that Nancy was missing. Now, initially, you may remember, the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos, said that Nancy didn't show up for church Sunday morning, and that is when, on February 1st, someone contacted the Guthrie family saying that something was wrong because Nancy is a very, very devout woman when it comes to her faith. Savannah Guthrie has talked about her faith in her videos posted on Instagram, as well as in stories that were on the Today Show when they featured Nancy Guthrie. But it has been revealed that Nancy Guthrie actually had not been to church in person since the pandemic. She reportedly stopped worshiping in person when COVID hit, and she hasn't physically returned to church on Sundays. Instead, she worshiped with friends. Now, NBC confirmed this information Tuesday morning that Nancy was supposed to meet with friends to watch a live stream of a church service out of New York on Sunday, February 1st. And when she didn't show up to that gathering, that's when friends contacted Annie Guthrie, who is Nancy's eldest daughter, who also lives in Tucson. Now, Monday night, yesterday, the Pima County Sheriff reiterated they don't have suspects. They don't have a person of interest in this case. But now we have these images, these new images of a potential suspect just released on Tuesday. And on top of that, the FBI released a new statement. Now, that statement reads, quote, "For more than a week, FBI agents, analysts, and professional staff have worked around the clock to reunite Nancy Guthrie with her family. The FBI is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time." So the FBI's new statement comes right after Savannah Guthrie dropped a new video and a desperate plea on her Instagram, but a different kind of plea than we had seen previously in this case.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayer.
And on a very big side note here, imagine if this could happen to someone that you know and love. Imagine if someone you know and love gets kidnapped tomorrow. It's like, how would you wish you would treat them today? How would you act if you knew something like this was going to happen? So it's one of the valuable lessons that I try to pull from it. It's like, hey, appreciate and love the people that are in your life, because usually it's not going to be an abduction, but sometimes you can lose people to a tragic car accident or anything. So you never know. You never know what can happen out there. You don't want to live with regrets.
And the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
So that statement, as you just heard there, it's very different from the messaging that we have seen from the Guthrie family on social media over the past week.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So until now, each one of the family's messages appeared to be directed at someone who was allegedly holding their mom. But now the family is appealing to the general public for help. And that new message really raises the question of whether those alleged ransom notes that we've all been trying to dissect for the past week, the ones sent to TMZ and local television stations in Tucson, were those ransom notes ever legit? According to K-Gun TV in Tucson, a television station that says it received an alleged ransom note, it says that the note demanded $6 million to be sent through Bitcoin by 5 p.m. local time, Tucson time, on Monday night. Now, the Bitcoin part of it is very interesting because TMZ said that they authenticated that there was a Bitcoin wallet that was connected to the note that they received. And I'm not someone who will tell you I'm a crypto expert or someone who understands Bitcoin, but you can see a Bitcoin wallet and you can see if money has been put into it. And as TMZ has been continuing to watch that wallet, money has not been put into it. Now, TMZ is also revealing some new information that we had not heard yet related to these alleged ransom notes. They had said that the FBI had contacted them and told them to not release certain details. But one new piece of information we've learned about the ransom note is that it said that if the money was given, this alleged ransom money in the Bitcoin, that Nancy Guthrie would be returned within 12 hours. And we have also, at the time of this recording, passed that deadline from when, if the money was deposited right at the deadline of Monday at 5 p.m. Tucson time, we have certainly passed the 12 hours after that for when whoever sent that note said that Nancy Guthrie would be returned. And when you think of 12 hours, TMZ did point out as well that if someone...
Oh, thank you very much, Mike, for such a high-profile case. Why only 50K? And that's a good point. I mean, the FBI should have made it higher to give people more incentive. You could think $1 million and maybe Savannah Guthrie pays them back. But thank you, Mike.
Someone's driving the speed limit, the radius of where you could get in 12 hours is states away, certainly across the U.S.-Mexico border as well, but states away from Tucson. You could get as far away as California or Colorado. The FBI is offering $50,000 in reward money for information to find Nancy Guthrie and whoever took her. And this is the billboard that the FBI has put together. It is a billboard that is up in several cities.
So again, this video was made before the announcement that someone was detained south of Tucson, but we don't know if it was a suspect, but someone has been detained for questioning. They said it happened at a traffic stop. They don't know anything else. That's all they've told us.
Especially in the Southwest, Houston, El Paso, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Antonio, Dallas, and Albuquerque, New Mexico, just to name a few. So now I want to talk about the alleged DNA samples that we mentioned at the top, because one big question from the start of this case has been who else had regular access to Nancy Guthrie's home. This is a woman, she's 84 years old. She reportedly lived alone, but the health concerns that she had, that's a big part of this story. You remember the sheriff saying that she was sharp mentally, but physically she couldn't walk 50 yards by herself. We also know that her daughter, Annie, lives roughly 4 miles from her house with her husband, and their house was searched over the weekend in what's being described as a consensual search. That's opposed to a situation where law enforcement has to roll up with a search warrant to get access to the house. Fox News Digital is now reporting that Nancy's hired help are submitting DNA samples. That includes her gardener and pool cleaner. The outlet says that this could mean that more DNA results have come back from evidence that was gathered at the scene. Now, the FBI and the Sheriff's Department, they haven't gone into further details about what evidence they found inside of Nancy Guthrie's house or Annie Guthrie's house that could really matter in this investigation.
So, Teresa, an address in Rio Rico is being searched. Where did you hear that?
They also have not confirmed the details of that Fox News Digital report that they are taking DNA samples from those who had worked at Nancy Guthrie's house. Now, you remember this video that was shot by News Nation of blood that was found on Nancy Guthrie's front porch. The Pima County Sheriff says that they expedited the process of getting that tested, and it came back to Nancy Guthrie. Now, the timeline the sheriff laid out about when Nancy Guthrie went to her daughter's house that Saturday night, when she got home, and what happened in the early hours of the morning, it's very important. And I think it's important that we reiterate it because she goes to Annie Guthrie's house at 5.
So this is what Tom Winter says that NBC News reported. The FBI's evidence response team in Pima County Sheriff's Office is conducting a court-authorized search of an address in Rio Rico, Arizona, in connection with the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. So what on earth could that be? And media is now gathering at the hospital, says the first comment. What's going on at the hospital? I do not know.
45. Apparently, it was a great night of dinner and games. She Ubered to her daughter's house, but then a family member drove her home around 9:45. And they know that based off when the garage door opened and closed at Nancy's house. It is interesting that the sheriff won't specifically say which member of Annie's family. Was it her? Was it her husband who drove Nancy Guthrie home? The sheriff won't say that outright. But this is what he says they believe happened, at least from some of the digital evidence that they collected in the early hours of the morning, February 1st.
Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects.
All right, so there's a completely random account that says this. Johnny Chickenbone. Flight tracking data shows a LifeNet Arizona emergency helicopter, tail number N544AM, flew from Tucson to the Rio Rico / Nogales area and back, landing at Banner University Medical Center. Reports of an unknown 84-year-old female flown from Rico to Banner Hospital. Now, granted, this is just a random person saying this. So don't take this completely at face value, but don't outright dismiss it either.
At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite it.
Sweet Caroline, thank you very much. Why hasn't there been a press conference, I wonder? Good question. I mean, I don't think the sheriff has had a press conference recently. I mean, he's not really as good in front of the camera, so maybe he doesn't like it. But thank you very much for that, Sweet Caroline. We got one from Mike here, too. Mike, thank you for this. This is the absolute ineptness of law enforcement. Could be. I mean, it's been 8-9 days now, so certainly not their brightest hour. What's the expression? But thank you, Mike.
It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video, but we're not giving up on that. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone.
Now, beyond Nancy's house and her daughter's house, law enforcement also paid a
Danielle, thank you very much for this. Appreciate your loved ones. Great advice. We could all use this suggestion, so thank you, Danielle.
visit to a Circle K gas station that's about 10 minutes of a drive from Nancy's home. And they have told media outlets that they took surveillance footage from that Circle K. It's unclear what the footage shows, but reportedly it was related to a potential vehicle of interest. And it is unclear if that video netted anything of value to this case. The gas station is located between Nancy's home and Annie's home. Now, law enforcement has said that they are following up on new leads, and we can expect to see members of law enforcement continue to have a presence at Annie Guthrie's house and Nancy Guthrie's house. We've also seen law enforcement search a septic tank or perhaps a drainage pipe on Nancy's property. There is obviously, with that new video from Savannah Guthrie, this question of what does law enforcement really know at this point? Are they at a standstill? President Trump over the weekend, he weighed in on this. He knows Savannah Guthrie because she covered him when as she has been the host of the Today Show, and he's pledged his support, and a lot of resources from the federal government are going into this search. But he did say something to reporters on Air Force One over the weekend that gave you some hope that we were getting closer to a resolution, saying, quote, we could have some answers coming up very soon. Once again, I want you to get a good look at these images released by the Pima County Sheriff of this masked, armed person at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning that she disappeared. If you have any information on where Nancy Guthrie may be, you can contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department in Arizona or the FBI. For Pima County, I want to put this number up once again, 520-351-4900. Then for the FBI, the number there, 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also go to tips.fbi.gov. I spoke with former FBI and CIA agent Tracy Walder just before these images were released by law enforcement. Join us now to talk more about this case is Tracy Walder, former FBI agent and former CIA agent. Great to have you here on Law and Crime.
So someone in the chat said that one of Tommaso's bandmates is being held but not arrested right now, I guess, for questioning. So maybe is he the person that's been detained, according to this other channel?
As always, when you look at the new video that was put out on Monday by Savannah Guthrie, I mean, certainly she's now not speaking directly to whoever may have taken her mom, but it also seemed like the way she was talking was different. It felt more like the Savannah Guthrie almost we see on the Today Show, as opposed to, and understandably so, just how distraught she's looked before that. What stood out to you in that video that she put out on Monday?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Chris. I think exactly what you just said, right? The fact that it was someone who, in my opinion, just, picked up their phone, made a video and uploaded it to their Instagram account. It was not as contrived and scripted and rehearsed, right, as the other 3 videos. I don't believe.
So Pamela, where are you? There it is. So I did just read something about this on X, but it just showed a flight tracker data that there was a helicopter that went to the hospital saying an unknown 84-year-old woman. Again, no official channels have said that, but I did see it. So I'm reporting it. But it's not a fact. It's not verified.
That the FBI, helped her craft whatever video that was. She may have actually asked them, will this compromise the investigation if I upload it? Because I think she is being that careful and diligent right now. But no, I think that this was just a video of her talking from her heart completely on her own.
And then when you look at the video as well, and to go from the messaging of we will pay and speaking to whoever took her mom to then making an appeal to the public, what does that tell you about these alleged ransom notes that we had been hearing so much about that were sent to the local television stations and TMZ?
Listen, I think we have to remember that the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department never said that they were able to authenticate these ransom notes, but they were not able to dismiss them as fraudulent. And so until you can completely dismiss something as fraudulent, you have to take it seriously. That is just proper procedure. And so that's why I believe that they were making those videos. I don't think it was some ploy or anything like that. I think everything is real until it can be disproved, just like everyone's a suspect until they can be eliminated. And so I think either a couple things happened. I think either they were able to figure out the authenticity or lack of authenticity of the ransom notes, or this was a plea by Savannah before that deadline approached for anyone to hand over any information before some kind of ransom was handed over.
And one question I've had is with these alleged ransom notes that were sent to the media outlets, how difficult is it to, if you were to send a letter from somewhere to maybe a local TV station, like in this case, how difficult is it to hide from the FBI where that?
All right. So Shield on X says and he's got 46.4 thousand followers, just spoke with a high-ranking officer at the Pima County Sheriff Department. Fox News is currently at Banner Hospital regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. Big media presence usually means a major development. So how about that? And again, this person also says the medical helicopter landed in Rio Rico and then went back to the hospital. So this is what they're all saying here.
Actually was being sent from.
So the answer to that is, I know this is going to frustrate y'all, but it depends, right?
Yeah.
There is no question this person, whether real or not, right? Like whether real intended or not, used a burner email. Like there's no question in my mind. There's no question this person encrypted it. There is no question they used a VPN, right? Like all three of those things definitely happen. Otherwise, the FBI, you can look up someone's real IP address in a matter of minutes, right? There's no question all of those things were used. And so if this person used military grade encryption, I mean, you could be looking at months, right, to figure that out, even if you are the NSA or some. It's just, I think the movies makes it seem like we can figure it out like that. And that's just not always the case. And so I think it probably took some time.
And here's the thing, with all these people doing this, you never know who's just doing it for attention, right? Or who's just saying things to get eyeballs on their account. It could be completely false what they're saying, right?
And then one other thing that stood out to me, because I'm not an expert on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and any of that. And then it's explained to me that you can see the wallet where, and I know TMZ says that they've been watching this wallet that was apparently linked to these alleged ransom notes. And I found that fascinating, just that, you know, everybody could see if the ransom was going to be paid, if that was actually true. I mean, how common, knowing that people can follow certain things with Bitcoin, is it that if this was real, that that's the type of currency that in 2026, someone who would do something like this would go to?
I would have expected them to use Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is used a lot of times for money laundering. And if you can do what's called change mixing and make it difficult, it is going to be.
Again, anything can be used for money laundering, business fronts, all sorts of things. So I don't like it when Bitcoin gets uniquely smeared for that.
Incredibly hard to trace where that money is going to on the back end. And so if this is real and if this person knows what they're doing from a technological standpoint, I'm not surprised that they asked for Bitcoin.
And turning now to some of now that it's more of this, you know, at least from Savannah Guthrie's side of it, this appeal to the public, and we keep hearing from the Pima County Sheriff that they don't have suspects, they don't have a person of it.
And so according to everyone now, whatever was going on at Banner Hospital turned into a big nothing burger, but that's just what I'm hearing now. I don't know why it even came into thought that people were thinking about it. Oh, Banner Hospital, Fox News is going there, JLR is going there, and then what? But then nothing's there. So why the hell did they go?
Interest, but we have seen in investigations that they're working a lot of things behind the scene that they just don't want out in the public at that point. And I know that we can only speculate on what's really going on, but what do you make of that messaging at this point? I mean, how likely is it now in the 10th day since Nancy Guthrie went missing that we really are in this place where law enforcement's just trying to find that angle that might lead them in the direction of Nancy Guthrie?
I think it's always a possibility, but I think what we need to remember is, yes, obviously they have been investigating this ransom angle. There's no question that they've been doing that. But just because they've been investigating that angle doesn't mean all angles have sort of fallen to the wayside. They're assigning different.
So it sounds like people were grasping at straws. There was a helicopter that was also in Rio Rico that went to the hospital around the same time. So people were trying to put two and two together, apparently, but it turned into nothing. So again, this is why trust but verify is a thing.
Different agents and different law enforcement officers to be working different things. So all of these different angles are being explored simultaneously. I think we've just been giving a lot of attention, and rightly so, to the ransom angle, but I think they've already been exploring all of these.
And in terms of things like this, I shouldn't even say trust first. I would say speculate. I would say be very cautious and try to see if it's true, and then try to verify, but don't believe it as fact right away. That's what I would say.
And have been doing so really since the get-go.
And the most recent statement from the FBI was that they were unaware of any sort of communication the Guthrie family was having with any sort of alleged kidnapper out there. What does communication in a case like this actually look like from the FBI and law enforcement with the family of the family who's going through this and they're looking for their loved one, but you're also looking and trying to understand exactly what happened and potentially look at everybody. Like, what type of communication might the Guthries be having with the FBI on a daily basis?
I mean, phone communication, text communication, personal visits, which, you know, we have seen those play out. I think they're in constant contact with them. There's no question, especially because this is an ongoing situation. Now, are they updating them, you know, every hour of every day? Probably not. But I do think that if the family wants an update, they will give them one. But I also think the FBI has probably, as well as local law enforcement, has probably set times during the day that they will update them as well.
And then when it comes to, and I know at like a news conference, they want to show united front with the local sheriff's office. What is, and the statement would probably be that everybody's working hand in hand trying to get, you know, Nancy Guthrie brought back safely. But like, what does that collaboration actually look like? Is it the FBI and the sheriff on like a morning meeting every day? Like, what is like the sharing of information back and forth in a case like this?
I mean, it depends. It sounds like they formed a task force, but I could be wrong. If they have formed a task force, then theoretically they are all actually sitting there together in one room and actually working together. So it's more than just simply like handing information right to them at certain times of the.
So please remember to like the video. Likes are free out there. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Super chats are a great way to get your questions answered. And I go live almost every night. We talk about true crime, current events, and I use my experience with narcissism, mental health, and addiction, and I apply it to current events and true crime. And we also have a great flock of black sheep here. And also this stuff about the hospital. Now they're saying someone's going back to the hospital. It kind of sounds like they're grasping at straws to me with this right now. This is why I trust Brian Etten, because Brian Etten doesn't jump the gun. So he reports what's known. He says, yes, there's someone being detained and questioned, but it doesn't mean they're a suspect. This is south of Tucson, but that's it. He hasn't reported anything since. And that's all we know. He didn't say anything about the hospital, nothing about the helicopter.
Day, this would be dedicated agents and officers working together in close proximity, literally and figuratively, to solve the case.
And now with the report that's out about people who may have had access to Nancy Guthrie's home, maybe they worked on the pool, maybe they were a landscaper, someone who might have helped her with her health issues that she was having, and the report that they're taking DNA samples from them. And I saw some, you know, at least internet criticism, and there's been a lot of that why is this happening on day 10 as opposed to something that would have happened on day 1? What do you make of them taking samples now potentially?
I mean, I actually agree with the criticism a little bit, because again, as I said before, they should have been investigating all things simultaneously, right? Unless they knew for sure, right off the bat, that those ransoms were real, which they said they didn't. They should have been doing everything simultaneously. Now, we also need to remember there's the sheer volume of stuff that they have to go through in every form. And so they may now.
So people are saying Jay for Justice posted something. Doesn't say what it is, though.
Wow, guys, I just had this video sent to me, and the originator is Crystal Bisasia on Facebook. But she went and drove by the scene in Rio Rico where the person was being detained at a traffic stop in the search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Take a look at this. I slowed it down and then I froze on where I think the person was being detained and then maybe on what was their vehicle. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. This story is crazy and it is breaking as we speak. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button.
So apparently this is the person they're questioning and detained south of Tucson. Now, let's see what else we see. All right, there's the police. And I mean, I would say, how do they know this is that? Are they saying it is because of the sheer amount of police?
Wow, guys.
Well, that doesn't say too much.
Welcome once again to Vermont. It's been another day, and there have been weird developments, some very dire developments in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. We are in day 9.
Exactly right, Christy. This is exactly right. How does she know what had to do with the case? Exactly. We don't know. I think some people are jumping the gun and they're a little too eager. And that might have been involved with it, but it's like, how do you know? You don't know. You got to wait you got to confirm these things before you actually just, oh, this is it. This is definitely the person they're detained. It's like, how do you know?
It is day 9 of this awful crisis for the Guthrie family. 9 days since 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie vanished. You know, at the time we were saying kidnapping and abducted, and there have been a lot of people who've started to question whether even that happened. Nobody knows at this point officially anyway, certainly not being told publicly what happened to Mrs. Guthrie. And if the law enforcement officers who are working on this know and are chasing specific leads, they are not saying so publicly. I'm recording this on Monday, Feb 9. Just hours ago, a very important deadline passed. And I think you could say this was the second but most consequential deadline in that whole alleged ransom effort.
So Brian Etten has a new short. We've been going over all the Brian Etten shorts, so we may as well go over this one too.
Hey guys, so I just got to Rio Rico, Arizona, and this is where the subject was pulled over in the case involving Nancy Guthrie. You know, there's this person who's being questioned right now. This is where the traffic stop was, right here, Rio Rico, Arizona, and it appears that the person may also live in this area, though I'm not sure. They've got the roads closed out here. I literally just got here. They're just calling it a subject right now, not a person of interest, not a suspect. Sorry, the lighting is really bad out here. But that's the latest. Let me go talk to some people and see what I can find out. But again, this is Rio Rico, Arizona. This is where the person was detained. And the latest from my sources is, unfortunately, you know, they have not located Nancy Guthrie, but they do have this person detained and being questioned right now, not being called a person of interest, not being called a suspect. So that's the, I'm right near the border, by the way. This is right near the Mexico border. Very, 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 very close. Hey guys, so I just got to Rio Rico.
So again, to not jump to conclusions here, what does that mean? If you're the FBI or law enforcement, right, you're going to be wanting to question people. It doesn't mean they're all going to be something that's going to lead you directly to an arrest or the suspect or Nancy, but you don't want to leave any stones unturned. So you talk to people, you question them, you detain them, because why not? Because why wouldn't you? Right? You don't know what's going on. You're trying to find out more. Why wouldn't you do this? It doesn't mean that it's going to lead to something, but why wouldn't you do it? So that makes sense to me. But again, you got to be careful to not draw too many conclusions from what you see. That's what Dr. George Simon has said about it. You got to not overinterpret the data, as he says. And that's what a lot of people do. They overinterpret the data.
I think you all know that there have been at least 3 ransom demand letters that were emailed or electronically sent to TMZ and 2 local Tucson stations. There was another effort in California that was made via another communication to the family. Somebody's been arrested and charged in that case. It's different than these 3, but these 3 all seem to be from the same source, making very specific demands that the first deadline would be Thursday of last week. And if $4 million wasn't sent by the deadline on Thursday, then the second deadline would be today. Again, today is Monday, and that deadline was 5 p.m. local Tucson time, and it would be 6 million. The consequences would go up by 2 million. And so you saw over the weekend, Savannah and her siblings putting out a plea to please let them have proof of life, but then also suggesting we understand and we'd like our mom back so that we can celebrate with her. That seemed very dire as well. There was a note, not a ransom communication, an added note that came into a Tucson station that was communicative, and it led to Savannah saying those words. We heard your message and we understand. But the only way we can get peace is if she's returned to us. So it seemed as though some people felt that they were appealing to the kidnappers for a body as opposed to the return of their mother alive. Authorities have not released any of that information. It's just people who are wondering and reading into.
It seems like I'm going to have to go on the scene of some of these things here if I want to be up to date. I got to be following Brian Etten around so that Mr. JLOR can't defeat me.
Savannah's words. Savannah also released another video today. I'm going to show all that to you. I have a lot to tell you about today, in fact, because there's a lot to be said about the deadline that passed today. And according to TMZ, they know the wallet, right? They're the ones that got the letter. So they know the wallet and they can check the wallet. And they said as of tonight and that deadline, the wallet had no deposits, no transaction activity. Probably for very good reason. I'm going to break all that down for you. And also, if you have had any hope like I have, that authorities are smarter than these guys and that they're going to catch them, have I ever got an interview for you? You're probably going to feel a lot better when you hear from one of the experts that I'm going to speak to in just a moment about how, yeah, Bitcoin's not all that anonymous. And cryptocurrency is not all that anonymous. And this whole cat and mouse game between the authorities and the bad guys, well, sometimes the authorities are winning. In fact, a lot of times the authorities are winning. And it doesn't always require someone to pay into the wallet in order to track the wallet. It's so interesting what you're going to hear. I encourage you to sit through this because it made me feel better that whomever is doing this to the Guthries is going to be caught. I think we're dealing with 2 different crimes. I think we're dealing with the scammers who are trying to, exploit a terrible situation to get money. And then I think we're dealing with the terrible situation at hand, which is the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. I'm going to break all of this down. What the unanswered ransom demand may actually mean, including new reporting on new leads that the authorities have said, expert insight into the whole transactional aspect of this. And we're also going to get into Savannah's latest public statement. There's a lot that was said and not said, which speaks volumes. She's made updated comments. We've had comments from law enforcement, unusual, like 2 sets, almost a correction. I'll get into that in a minute. Then there's also a whole new layer on the search activity that took place at Savannah's sister's house late.
So people are telling me there's all sorts of information being released right now, but no one's telling me where they're getting it from. So they're saying there was a DoorDash driver that was pulled over and they're searching his house now, this DoorDash driver. But where are you learning that? Where are you seeing that? But that's what I'm hearing is happening.
Saturday night, and so many people were asking so many questions, understandably. 3 unmarked vehicles show up and 3 officers get out, and then flash bulbs start going off and they're covering the windows late at night, like 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock local time in Tucson. So it obviously raised a lot of questions. And as I'm recording this, it's 11:15 Eastern. Yeah. So
all right. More importantly, Brian Netton has a post on X 13 minutes ago. In Rio Rico, Texas, near Mexico, where subject was detained, just talked to his family, and they say he was delivering DoorDash when he was pulled over. FBI searching house now. So apparently this is the person that was detained south of Tucson. So he's a DoorDash driver, and that's all we know. What possibly could a DoorDash driver have to do with all this? I do not know. But what do you think, chat? What could a DoorDash driver have to do with all this? I can show you Brian Netton's new thing. All right, so we're going to pause Ashley here. Sorry, Ashley. You're behind the times here.
In the hey guys, so I just got to Rio Rico, Arizona, and this is where the subject was pulled over in the case involving Nancy Guthrie. You know, there's this person who's being questioned right now. This is where the traffic stop was, right here, Rio Rico, Arizona, and it appears that the person may also live in this area, though I'm not sure. They've got the roads closed out here. I literally just got here. They're just calling it a subject right now, not a person of interest, not a suspect. Sorry, the lighting is really bad out here. But that's the latest. Let me go talk to some people and see what I can find out. But again, this is real.
So he mentions the DoorDash thing in the description, but he doesn't mention it in the video. Interesting. Okay. Back to Banfield.
There was going to be activity there tonight by the authorities. So it's 9:15 at night right now, and there's no activity. And we were told there would be activity at both residences tonight. I will get into that, what it might mean, what it might not. First, though, I just want to get personal for a second, because I know a lot of you have been watching and you've been wondering, why isn't she doing TV?
Thank you very much for this, Mike. Always a contractor, pool guy, scapers, electrician. Could be. I mean, that's where the person that abducted Elizabeth Smart, it was a handyman. So that does happen. Thank you, Mike.
Anymore. Why is she doing the podcast? Why is this just solely what I do as a reporter now? And there's a lot of reasons. First of all, I love this medium. I like being able to talk to you one-on-one personally. I like being able to work without a specific deadline. I can actually come to you when I have compiled information.
So they're saying it's not a person of interest. It's not a suspect. It's just someone they're asking questions. So to me, that means, they're trying to make a little bit of noise, but it doesn't really mean it's anything. But people are starving right now for there to be news. And so some people are grasping at straws and over-interpreting what happens because they've got nothing else. Because, look at JLR's stream. He's getting 1 million views a day doing this, right? I don't even know how he's filming it, if it's just on his phone or whatever, right? But he's doing it for 12 hours a day, and it's working for him.
It's why I didn't do a podcast throughout the weekend, and I summarized last night. It's back in the playlist for all of the story coverage that we've done on this story, on the Nancy Guthrie story. But also, I just like the casualness as well. 38 years I've been wearing dresses and makeup and hair, and now I can wear a hoodie and kind of, you want to hear? It actually brings to light a sponsor I wanted to talk to you about tonight, because I'm all about doing things that are good for you, you know, food, everything. And I want to talk to you about what you're putting on your face, right? Because a lot of you spend a lot of time worrying about what you eat and what you drink and exercising and taking care of your families. And you cake your face with makeup that is full of chemicals. And most of them we can't even pronounce. Don't read the label. It's going to make you upset. So I've got a new sponsor named Toops, and it's important that I bring you why I think they're really important. I only endorse products that I like. Your very long statement, right? The sheriffs, I'll get to the FBI in a second, but they suggested that they were going to be out at the 2 Guthrie residences again tonight. Interesting. They haven't been, not yet. Again, it's 11:18 Eastern, 9:18 local time. They're not there. They also suggested that they are running down new leads, and that's great, as they should. The way investigations work is you build, and sometimes you get a right turn, and sometimes you get a left turn, and you go where those turns take you. So I'm going to read you their statements in just a minute, including the oops, did we forget? And we'll add this to it 20 minutes later statement, which was odd, but I will read that for you in just a second. But first, I want to play for you Savannah's statement.
Thank you, Mike, for this. Is a reason they were canvassing near daughters. Canvassing near daughters. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but thank you, Mike.
Statement today. It was just her. She didn't have the siblings with her. She was shooting herself on Instagram. It was not set up with like an FBI ring light or a formal set, you know, seating. It didn't look like there was anything being read. And I want you to listen really carefully to the things that she says. And then on the other side, we're going to talk about the things she does not say.
So here's the thing. As a competitive panda myself, it's like, well, maybe I should be getting on the scenes to do some of these reporting for one, and then use my lens. Because I'll tell you, of all the people that we listen to, I mean, I don't know how many of them have more expertise in addiction, mental health, narcissism, and psychopathy than me. The combination, certain people might know more in one area, but in terms of the combination, I don't know if you're going to find somebody who knows more. So maybe I need to be on the scene in some of these things.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we
So we've heard Nancy or Savannah say this. Thank you, Mike. Fed spent 8 hours today walking to every house. Yeah, they were asking about the footage for one. They asked another house if they could search. We don't know what they were looking for, but they said they dropped something. So yes, but thank you, Mike. Let's skip this. We already know what she says.
and we need your help.
So Savannah released that statement just before the 5 o'clock local ransom deadline came and went. That was very interesting. Not one mention of the ransom, not one mention to the kidnappers, not a mention to her mother either, just to us, everyone in America and beyond, to please, if you can think of anything tiny, please help, because we could crowdsource a solution to this crime. This was her appeal. And I will tell you this, I have personal experience with the smallest of potential things you notice can solve a crime. 20 some odd years ago, I was working at Court TV covering a case of the murder of Lita Sullivan in Atlanta. And her husband, James Sullivan, had disappeared. James Sullivan, Lita's husband, hired a hitman. They were going through a divorce. It was all about money. And he had hired a hitman to go to her door and pose as a flower.
So question for you then, Sammy. What does JLR use to record out there? Like, do you get like some sort of big, how do you live stream from the freaking desert? That's what I would want to know. I mean, you would need to have a great connection somehow, but how do you have a great connection when you're remote? How does Brian Etten do these videos? I don't think he's live when he's doing them. I think he's recording himself. Live is a different story.
delivery man with pink roses. And he rang the doorbell and Lita answered the door and the gun went through the roses and shot Lita dead. It was a horrendous crime. And they caught the hitman and a couple of other people, but they didn't catch James because he beelined it out of the country. I'll tell you where in a second, but it was a long way away. And so in absentia, they charged and convicted him. Amazing. But he was somewhere else. They didn't have him. And so years went by, and John Walsh with America's Most Wanted decided to do a segment on the murder of Lita Sullivan, and James Sullivan being one of America's Most Wanted. And the episode played, whether in syndication or live, I don't know, but it played in Thailand, okay? The episode and the story of Lita being murdered with the flower delivery and the pink roses, it played in Thailand. And wouldn't you know it, someone in Thailand saw the America's Most Wanted episode and recognized the guy and thought, I know him. He's here. And that someone called the local authorities, and the Thai police arrested James Sullivan in Thailand. And he was extradited back to the United States to actually face trial again. I know you're saying double jeopardy, federal. So it wasn't double jeopardy because the state and the feds charged him separately, interstate commerce, et cetera, because he had used the phone lines, et cetera, to set up the hitman, and the hitman testified, and they got him. And so it was one person's eyeballs across the other side of the world that brought James Sullivan to justice. So it does work. What Savannah's asking us all to do, that it does work. Somebody out there may have heard or seen something that, given all the facts we know now, kind of maybe fits. It's for the detective to sort through it. So the detectives will sort through it, but don't keep it to yourself. 1-800-CALL-FBI. We put this graphic up all the time. If you think you know something, if you heard something, if something just doesn't seem right, no detail is too small. It's not a joke. It's not a platitude. It actually works. I've seen it happen. That's just one example where I've seen it happen. Okay, a couple of things I want to tell you about. Pima County Sheriff's, again, like we said, not giving any press conferences and not planning to unless there's anything big. But I do want to read you a very long statement that they sent to the media today. Okay, here it is, verbatim. We do not have any additional information to release publicly this afternoon. The investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance remains active and ongoing. We understand the significant public interest in this case. However, investigators need time and space to do their work. If and when relevant information becomes available, it will be.
So Canada in the chat says, our Nova Scotia representative, police have seized phones of all people living in the house of the DoorDash driver. Interesting. I wonder what on earth they could have to do with it. I have no idea. Holy mackerel.
Shared. And then they sort of bold regarding the investigation itself. And this is what they say. Investigation, many of you observed an active law enforcement presence at the Guthrie residences, plural, over the weekend. That activity will continue tonight and into tomorrow as part of the ongoing investigative process, including.
Now, I always think for myself, we listen to people and then I give my thoughts because I don't necessarily agree with everyone that I listen to.
The expansion of the search and follow-up on new leads. Okay, all interesting. They're expanding the search. Good. They're expanding the follow-up on new leads. New leads is always good, right? The activity at the Guthrie residences, plural, will continue tonight and into tomorrow. It's now 11:25 p.m. Eastern, and still no activity at either of these residences. And I'll remind you, on Saturday night, it started at 8 o'clock local and went through till about 11 o'clock local. Very dark and very, odd for everybody. Maybe even more odd that we're told it's happening and it's not. This is all part of the investigative process as the search for Nancy expands and new leads come in. I like that part. To preserve the integrity of this criminal investigation, details of that process are not being released at this time.
But on the brink, thank you so much for helping my content to reach more people. Without commenters like you, I wouldn't find new people as many as I do.
Probably wise. Now, the next headline is ransom, : the FBI is handling all aspects related to any ransom note, parentheses S, notes, or communications involving the Guthrie family. Any inquiries regarding this matter should be directed to the FBI Public Affairs Office. The next line is tips, : we appreciate the media's assistance in helping get information to the public. Thousands of calls have been received across multiple tip lines, and investigators continue to review them. And then the call to action for you: anyone who believes they have information that may assist investigators is asked to contact 1-800-CALL-FBI. The Pima County Sheriff's Department non-emergency line is also up at 520-351-4900 or 88-CRIME. Video or pictures can also be uploaded via the QR code attached. So when that statement came out late this afternoon,
So tell me, folks, do you want me to go to the next Tony Bruschi video or continue listening to Ashley Banfield? Because right now, I feel like I need to be on the ground because we're just getting the secondhand information here. I want to be on the front lines. Because this video, like, it seems like at this very moment, you need live things. Not like these videos from hours ago. These hours ago seem light years behind. That's right, Sammy. I'm stubborn as a mule. Stubborn as a mule in a way that is endearing. How about that? You don't become the wizard of radical self-respect and the shepherd of black sheep for nothing, you know. Carlos Innocent. I don't know who that is. Yeah, she is. She is a day behind. So I feel like this is stale. But this is what happens when you're not Brian Etten on the scene or JLR on the scene. There's nowhere else. There's nowhere else to go with it. That's why X, you're getting some updates from X, but that's about it. Some people talking about Epstein.
This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
I'm not, let's go to some breaking news right now. Thank you guys for joining us. Breaking update as we are here on the Nancy Guthrie.
Jake Tapper got yelled at for walking onto the driveway. The very same Jake Tapper that didn't freaking rat on, or at least call out Joe Biden for being demented. That was a shame for the old Democrats there, I'll tell you. But this is why, you know, you got to have courage. If you notice that your candidate is not going to do well, it's up to the people surrounding him to say, hey, dude, step down. Step down and give your people a primary. Give them a primary so they can pick who they want, as opposed to just anointing Kamala Harris. How about that? Jake Tapper was one of them. He was one of the people that enabled it to happen. Silly Jake Tapper. But that's what happens. And people would say, oh, well, it's not easy to call out the president, you know. And I was like, well, doing the right thing rarely is easy. Doing the right thing takes some courage.
Situation images have now been released by NBC News. We can put them up on the screen if you're watching. This is the man authorities are saying is behind the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. This is appears to be from the Nest video equipment. If you're listening to the podcast and not seeing the images, you have a man in a ski mask, 2 eye holes in it. It looks like it's one that covers the nose. Is the mouth visible on that? There's a couple images that have now. Yeah, it looks like the mouth is visible. So this is a little bit different of a. This is, I guess, more of a traditional ski mask. It's not quite like.
I mean, I could tell you what: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, probably not Maryland, but New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. You can make an argument the meanest people in the world are here. They call people from Massachusetts massholes, but this area, probably the meanest people in the world. So that's where I've grown up, with the meanest people in the world.
The Koberger one. All you see is a pair of eyes there. And it looks like he was, I'm assuming we don't know the answer to that. Way too hard to tell by these images. It looks like trying to get into the home. This appears to be from the Nest camera. Looks like large glove. I don't know. It looks like boxing.
Yeah, I can be a mean son of a bitch sometimes, for sure. I can be a crankopotamus, depending on my mood.
Gloves.
They do look like boxing gloves almost.
When we're looking at it. But if you look at the other one, the other hand with the glove, it just looks like a very thick, it almost looks like a winter glove. This person clearly had evading identification on their mind going in.
Cindy, the problem with politics is I'm neither. But even just mentioning Trump in the thumbnail the other day, I got a lot of hate just for saying that. And people are like, oh, Jared, you said something childish about my daddy Trump. I hate you now. And it's like, you can't say a word. You can't say a word about either of them, or you make everyone angry. So people just can't handle it. Me personally, wizards do not have a political affiliation. They're not Democrat nor Republican. They think that they're two wings of the same bird. Now, you could argue which ones are worse, but to me, they're all playing people against one another. The elites don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, black or white, gay or straight. The only color they see is green. And as long as you're divided and you don't unite via class, the elites are happy.
Into this house, which is interesting to me. Bob, what's your initial reaction here? Bob Mott, a defense attorney with us from Defense Diaries, as this is coming out and you're seeing the images as we are for the first time as well. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it's going to have to be a body type recognition and somebody recognizing the clothing, right?
And somebody in our chat said there's nothing in that picture that is going to be recognizable to anyone. I beg to differ, because somebody looking at that's going to go, oh, that's so-and-so, because people are very distinctive.
Well, here's the problem with that. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people going, that's so-and-so. And 99.9% of them will be pointing and...
So one thing I've thought about doing is pointing out all of the narcissistic tactics that I see in politics. Like, for example, I was going to break down the Trump-Kamala debate, because personally, that was a great example of one of my YouTube videos where a narcissist's biggest weakness. And what did I say in that video? I said their biggest weakness are flip sides of the same coin: their susceptibility to admiration and their sensitivity to criticism. So what did Kamala do in that? She goaded him about the size of his crowds, and he spent minutes of precious answering time defending the size of his crowds, which is meaningless. So that's just an example of Kamala using that weakness against him. Now, granted, but as you just heard me say 10 minutes ago, I'll clearly ridicule Jake Tapper and all of them too, because I'll clearly and definitely do criticize them all. The problem is, for me, when I do that, I make everyone angry, because I'll talk to anyone long enough, I'll disagree with them on something.
And naming someone that's not.
Well, true, but there is somebody out there that's going to go, I look into those eyes every day. Don't you think?
No,
somebody knows that person.
I mean, I don't see anything super distinctive. I mean, look, Truby.
So this is the thing. I hate this. The fact that if you say something against Trump, the first thing they'll say to you is TDS much? Trump derangement syndrome much? But that's really just a way to gaslight people and to not address their points. When they don't want to address their points, they'll just say you have TDS. Very convenient.
behavioral or a someone who's able to physically look at this, probably they're seeing a hell of a lot more than we are. So maybe there'll be something there. Are those eyebrows, or is that part of the mask
I
that we're
think
looking at?
those might be eyebrows, and I
It
also
looks
think
like
there
it.
might be a
It looks
mustache
like a
there, guys.
mustache.
Oh, God damn it. Where did the streets go? Oh, there you are. Thank you, Mike. The creepiest thing I've seen in a long time. Yeah, it is a little creepy, isn't it? I don't know what to think about it.
It does. That
Again,
might be...
I'm sorry. If you roll over every day and you see that face, I would recognize that in a heartbeat.
Especially if it had the mask on every day when they rolled over.
Mask, you know what I'm talking
Good
about.
morning, honey. No, you're right. No, maybe when we look at these a little bit closer, I think you're right. There may be some distinguishable features here on this individual right now. I guess my question initially here is this: we're 10 days in. Why are we just seeing these right now?
That's a good point.
And that's a good point there, Tony, but I'll address what Jolly said. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. The only thing I don't like is when people, they automatically jump straight to hating you because you have one disagreement, or they'll gaslight you about it. You can't get anywhere with that. Like, that's how echo chambers start. And there's a lot of people guilty of that. So those are the things, though, that as a creator, you get in trouble. And that's why you don't see too many moderate people out there, because that's not where the money is, for one. The money is in leaning into one side or the other. And that creates the echo chambers, though, too. But Tony Bruschi's saying why are we just seeing this now? Well, and I think moderator Jay made a good point about this earlier. He said, since Nancy didn't have a subscription to the Nest footage, they had to maybe get a court order or go to the CEO of Nest. I think that very well could have been what it was. And that could be the reason why they weren't able to open it.
I think it's how long it took them to get the actual images because of the whole nightmare that she wasn't subscribed. That's what I'm guessing, right? I mean, I think that they're really, because we knew that from who owns Nest? Amazon, right? I think they own it. I think from their perspective, we knew that they had to have the images, even though that they weren't giving them to the end consumer, because like that was the thing. We knew that it had to exist somewhere. So I'm hoping that the answer is that this was as quickly as they could get it from Amazon. You know, I mean, that's the only thing that we can think. I mean, at this point.
I know, but doesn't that answer just seem like bullshit? I mean, I'm sorry. Someone is missing. The whole nation, the world has been watching this for 10 fucking days. And I'm going to guess this is data. It's there. They have it. So it's been in a retrievable form for 10 days from Nest. From whoever is going to forensically look at the camera. And we don't know the answer to the question of, did the authorities take the camera? Did somebody take the camera down? Who is in possession of the camera? We don't know that. If it was, gleaned off of the actual hard drive itself before it got overwritten because there wasn't a subscription, maybe that's how it happened. Or maybe this was on the cloud temporary. I don't know. It seems to me that the right person at Nest probably knew exactly where to go and find this shit. I don't think it was somebody like literally, putting pixels together or something and waiting for it to show up. There was a clear, accessible route to this shit 10 days ago. Why 10 days later is it that we're finally seeing these as the general public? I get it if you're investigating somebody and you don't want to get it out there. You don't have anybody yet. So, hey, maybe asking for the public's opinion or the public's help 10 days ago may have been helpful, considering here we are right now. This just doesn't make any sense to me why 10 days in we get the masked figure photos and we didn't have these like day 1 or 2.
Dude, it's $1 million question. I agree with you. It's like, you got some computer dudes over at Amazon. I'm imagining.
Well, I mean, it's not like, well, hey, can you get to this after lunch, Bill? Oh, Bill's out on vacation. Chucky's over here, but he's over at Subway. Once he gets back, maybe. I mean, this is like Get to your desk, figure this shit out now. I mean, I don't know. Well, they're working on other stuff right now. They got to get ready for Prime Day. I mean, what the fuck? I'm sick of everybody's dumbass bullshit excuses as to why things take so long when we're in a crisis mode situation. And it's like, well, we'll get to it. It's like the comment earlier from the FBI.
I kind of think Tony's kind of missing the mark here with this. Could be a couple things. For one, they might have already had this. They just didn't release it until now. For one, that's one possibility. And two, when you have to go through the courts or maybe even get a search warrant because Nancy didn't have a Nest subscription, that takes time too. And again, and that puts people, there's been big court cases about this too, by the way, between Apple and the FBI. There was a big privacy case about how Apple didn't want to give the FBI a key to unlock certain phones. And this was back when there was more terror fears in America. But what happened was the FBI wanted like a key to break into people's phones. And they were telling Apple, give us the key and we'll only use it this one time. And Apple was like, I don't know about that one, Jack. And the FBI was like, well, we have to catch these Al-Qaeda terrorists. We have to do this. And so I don't even remember how that court case turned out, but that was a big privacy battle there, that Apple was taking a stand against the FBI and the government.
You're not aware that they were speaking. You're not aware. Come on. How about definitive fucking answers here?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. It's like you're already seeing the speculation.
So Noel says in the chat, Apple still isn't releasing the information. And honestly, for the rest of us, that's probably good. I wouldn't be for the government being able to hack into everyone's phone like that, because that's what they were asking for. They're asking for, oh, give us this safe key and we'll just use it this one time because we're from the government and you can trust us. And Apple correctly thought, I don't know about that one. I think you'll use it and you'll probably try to screw us over later, which almost certainly would have been true. But these are the things that in the Patriot Act that they were trying to push. We lost a lot of freedoms in that Patriot Act, let me tell you.
In the chat, oh, he looks Hispanic.
Yeah, we're seeing that too.
Hey,
I don't see it. Looks like a white dude to me.
Here we go.
Well, we've had people say it looks like a woman too. Somebody has mentioned the flowers or whatever he's holding in that thing may have been seen on the video from the original reporting from TMZ.
Really? What is that?
I thought they were wires. Those are flowers?
Somebody said they look like brush flowers or something.
It kind of
like
does.
that.
Why are they holding brush flowers up by the camera, I wonder? Or are they trying to cover the camera with it? It's weird. It's a weird object that's being held to that camera that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
And we don't have any timestamps on this, so we don't know when these are from.
No, we don't.
I mean,
look at this moment. I mean, all we have are the images at this moment in time, and I'm sure hopefully more context comes out about this. I'm going to believe that these are probably from her home. We don't even know that for sure at this second. But it looks like someone was clearly trying, to get into the home at that moment in time. I can't tell that's I can't tell that's eyebrows are part of the mask on it.
Yeah, or shadowing. You're talking about the potential eyebrow thing up there.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. This looks like they could be using some distortion contacts there. Like, you know how some kind of emo folks or like punk rock folks, they wear these like eye distorting glasses or eye distorting contacts. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going on here a little bit. But look, looks like a mustache, right? Looks like a mustache. And Tommaso does indeed have a full beard.
It like Todd said, it does look like he's got facial hair.
Yeah.
Unless
it's part of the mask to make it look like there's something different.
Well, so chat, tell me, do you think he's wearing distorting contacts?
Different there. Almost looks like a Hitler mustache.
What if someone's wearing a disguise and a ski mask? I mean, anything's possible here. But here we go. This is the next chapter of the story. We're at the very
drop point from it right now. Here's the images. Who are they going to say this is? Obviously, they're releasing this because they want the public's help in identifying.
So does anyone know in the chat what the capabilities are of law enforcement or the government to ID someone through their eyes? What can you get with that? How far can you go with that? Does anyone know?
The person behind this. I'm going to go with male. It looks like it's probably male.
Yeah, it looks like a guy. But
anything is possible. But
I mean, that they're going to figure out the make of that jacket.
Oh, absolutely.
Like in relatively short order, Like they've already probably figured out who makes that jacket. They probably already figured out the shoes.
Well, I'm wondering, could the investigators have they know, and maybe that answers my criticism earlier of this, of why 10 days in are we now seeing this as a public? Is that because behind the scenes they thought we better keep this close to the vest because we're going to close in and find? Why wouldn't you want the public to know this? I guess maybe scaring the person away,
That's probably
possibly.
why.
And they haven't found them yet. So now 10 days in, it's like, okay, we better release them. Because I just don't buy that it took 10 fucking days to get this shit.
Well, to me, it screams that they don't have anything else to go on. Now they need everybody's help.
Yeah. Nesbitt in chat is saying apparently.
I'm not exactly sure why Tony's so upset about this. Thank you, Mike. Can AI do a study of a size, weight, gait, eyes? I'm sure they can, but the question would be, what can they get from that? That I don't know. But thank you, Mike.
They weren't recovered until today. So, there's going to be
somebody's out to lunch again. This bullshit.
Yeah, there's going to be a party line.
You can extract anything from these devices. I just really have a hard time buying that they couldn't get it. Have they been working tirelessly for the last 10 days? I don't know, but it just seems crazy that the stuff that my phone and that bitch Alexa, who never answers me, the stuff she knows about me is insane. They have all this data. Shut up. Sorry, that was her just talking.
I don't know. I've had a theory on this from the very beginning, and I've been expressed it on the air, and I'm not going to do it right now. Bob knows it, and you all know it. And it looks like it might be playing out.
Oh my God.
Looking at the chat, it looks like it's playing out.
Yeah, it's playing out in the chat too.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. I hate when you're right about stuff, Tony. You better not be right about this. You better not be right about this.
What is that it looks like he's holding on to there? A lot of people are asking about that. Is that
flashlight?
Is it a flashlight?
Some are saying a gun, but to me that looks like it could be some sort of a holster for a flashlight. It doesn't look like a gun to me.
I don't know what that is.
Maybe it is.
I can't make it out at all. It looks
chat. I got the devil's number of likes in here, 666. So please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And we have an awesome flock of black sheep here for all of you that have maybe been a scapegoat or black sheep in your life. This is the chat for you. I talk live almost every night besides Sunday night about true crime or current events. And I use my experience with addiction, mental health, and narcissism, and I apply it to those things. So remember to like the video. Likes are free.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't really look like he's holding it anyway, because his thumb doesn't have a grip on what. I don't know if that's. What is that?
So here's what investigators are going to be doing right now. They're going to be combing through the. And I hope to God I'm not having to tell investigators what the fuck to do here. Look at the Amazon history. Look at the purchases.
Tony Bruschi's kind of feisty today, I'll tell you. I mean, he's mad that this footage didn't get released till today, but again, just because they didn't release it till today doesn't mean they didn't have it. And maybe there's just nothing else. I mean, if you don't know where this guy went and you can't ID this guy, it's still a whodunit, because who is this?
For this type of shit from anybody remotely. And I'm sure the FBI knows this. I don't know that nanos that would run through his mind. He's probably out to lunch.
He's using Chat GPT to figure out what to do now.
Yeah. What do you think, Chat GPT? Chat GPT says it's a member of the Blue Man Group. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Actually, the mask, that kind of lends itself to that, doesn't it? It looks like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I think Mary Starlight might be right. Like that kind of does look like maybe it's a taser.
A taser. Yeah.
It looks a hell of a lot more like a taser than a gun to me.
If you if you can get out there, there's actual video that they're showing out there as well that I don't have access to. But this whole thing is on video, and yes, he is holding, or that person is holding some sort of like flowers or weeds or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like the person said in the chat, but Tony's not taking into consideration here is it just takes time. It takes time to get the back end data when there's no subscription to the Nest. If there was a subscription to the Nest, they would have had this days ago, like probably even the next day, but there wasn't. And so when there wasn't, usually what would happen is that video would loop. It would loop to nothing and you couldn't see anything. So to get it so you can see this, it takes some time. Tony's just not really taking that into consideration.
Wow.
I'll see if I can get the video feed.
I wonder if it was something that was on the door that they just pulled off.
Or is that a weird thing? I mean, if she's sitting, did she answer the door? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, they found blood at the doorstep. So did she answer the door? Was she struck right there at the door?
Oh,
Here's our video.
Holy cats. God, that's terrifying.
So he's covering the camera, or attempting to cover it with what looks like a very bulky glove. That just doesn't look like a normal glove to me.
That's a guy. Look at that
it's 100% a guy. Well, I'll say 99.9% a guy.
Yeah. Then it looks like he walks over to
those little flowers. So
Yeah, I'm 99% sure this is a guy.
yeah, he's trying to cover the camera with those.
You're right.
He grabs flowers, is he trying to jam the flowers? He's trying to put the flowers over the camera. That's what he's doing.
Right.
That's what he's doing. He realizes so this tells me one thing. This person doesn't know that there's a fucking camera there. This person was not prepared to be on surveillance. That tells me this is the first time the guy's shown up at the house. This isn't somebody who knows the house well, because I think you'd be more well prepared than grabbing foliage after you've already seen the camera to cover it up.
So do you think that's someone that just showed up into a well-to-do neighborhood going, I'm going to steal some stuff, and oh shit, there's a camera at this house that I chose. Now I'm screwed.
It screams to me of a very inexperienced or someone who's out of their fucking mind that they're grabbing foliage to go and cover this camera with. Like that's their plan. You didn't coming with like you didn't. Well, here's an idea. It's a Nest doorbell. It's right there. You can rip it off. Like
Tony's kind of stressing me out today, actually. His tone and tenor is irritable.
Welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Branson Quirk.
And I'm Babcock.
Big update today. This we covered it this morning on the TMZ Morning Podcast. The deadline had passed yesterday for Nancy Guthrie, the alleged ransom note. And then the middle of the day, the newsroom just exploded getting these photos. FBI Director Kash Patel putting out several images, including video of the alleged suspect here at the home of Nancy Guthrie. Let's go ahead and just play this right off the bat, Babcock. So in this video, you see this guy, you see him walking up to the door. He's looking down and he's got
Oh, that looks like a guy to me.
Holster in the front there. So you see a gun in the holster. But then tell me what you think here. He sees what appears to be a Nest camera, And
yeah, I mean, and technically any story can be a diversion, whether it's the Super Bowl, Bad Bunny halftime show, the Turning Point USA halftime show, Candace Owens versus Erica Kirk. What's not a distraction? What don't they want you talking about? The Epstein files? I would say that's one of them. A lot of people don't want you talking about that. And the other thing the elites don't like is when you unite via your class, regardless of race, gender, or sexuality, or religion. They wouldn't like that.
This video is put together so you don't see the entire thing here, but he actually steps backwards, goes to get brush out of the grass there,
right,
to go cover up the camera.
Yeah. I have like conflicting thoughts when I see this, because he's got the gloves on, he's got the ski mask on. You can't see much of his face, of the features. But then, if this person was a professional, Branson, for somebody to be a professional but not know that they've got a doorbell camera and not.
So, Gypsy, you think it's a woman? I'm not seeing it, but I'm not saying you're wrong. But I think it's a guy. So 699 likes is also good. I appreciate that as well. Thank you to Livin for modding here, which is good. Oh, we got another Brian video we can watch here in a second too. That is also good. Let's see.
Come with a way to cover the camera. And then, like you said, to have to go look for some brush or, brush or flowers or whatever it might be to cover the camera. That says someone who is not a professional, to me, in my very not expert opinion. I mean, it surprised me that he wouldn't have been aware.
So breaking Brian news to his shorts channel. Let's go.
Hey guys, so I just interviewed a woman. She says that she owns the house that's being searched right now, and it is her son-in-law who is being detained and questioned by police right now. And she says that they took all of their electronic devices. The search warrant is ongoing right now. She's not allowed to go back inside. She insists that her son-in-law is not involved in this. I asked her if she'd heard of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and she said yes. I showed her the pictures from outside Nancy Guthrie's house, the surveillance photos, and I showed her the eyebrows, and she insists that it is not her son-in-law. She says that he was with her daughter delivering DoorDash when the police stop happened and they took him away. And, I asked her if...
Yes, we will go to News Nation next, but I have to make sure News Nation is not copyright material.
He was home last Saturday night into Sunday here, and she insists, yes, that he was, but around 2 a.m. So that's what she's saying. The whole road is closed out here. They're searching her house right now, and that's the latest. Hey guys, so I just interviewed...
So News Nation, is it copyright material? Because I'm not down to be getting copyright strikes. Thank you, Mike. Cell phone data is what broke the case. Well, case is not broke yet, though, sir. But thank you. Well, we'll see. I'll just be angry.
We got Brian Enton back. Brian, you're up.
Okay, I'm outside the house that is now being searched where this subject lived, we're told. There was a traffic stop close by. This is the subject being questioned in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. This is Josephina.
Yes.
This is her house, and the subject is her son-in-law.
Yeah,
is
my
that right?
son, yeah.
Tell me how this happened. Where was he when he was detained?
My daughter and him and the kids, my grandkids, were doing DoorDash when they got stopped here, and I don't know what kind of questions they asked them. But when we got home, I wasn't at home. When we got home, we found out that they took my son out. They went inside, they busted the doors from my house. They went inside and took my son to the living room and had him handcuffed, and then got him outside. That's when the time that we got home, and we asked what was going on, and they couldn't say anything. And they said, and I asked him to have a search warrant to go in my house. And they said, we don't need a search warrant. We could go do that if we want to. So I told them.
Oh, the defendant lawyer and me would say, like, no, you need to get a search warrant if you're coming in my house.
Yeah, I think you need a search warrant. Why did you break my door? You took my son the wrong way. I mean, you hurt him. His wrists were with the handcuffs.
Let me ask you this. Were you familiar with the Nancy Guthrie
No.
case? Had you seen that she was missing?
I saw it on Facebook, but since I don't know her, I didn't read what was going on. The
Did
story.
they take electronic devices at all?
Oh my goodness. But thank you very much for this super chat. Topological Truppy. I can't even say your name. He's got a stretchy photo mask under balaclava. I don't know what that means, but thank you.
They take your
I
phone?
don't have anything. They
took
took
your
my phone. They took my phone, my husband's phone, my daughter's phone, my grandkids' phone, and my son-in-law's phone.
Let me show you these pictures really quick,
Mhm.
Josephina, of just give me a second. I got to pull them up on my phone. These are the pictures from outside Nancy Guthrie's house.
Mhm.
This is who they're looking for. Do the eyes look like your son-in-law at all?
No, not at all.
Do you see the mouth?
Yeah, no. He doesn't look that at all.
Oh my God. Brian Atten's going to ask her, like, oh, do you want to implicate your son-in-law right now and say that that's him at the door?
Brian, can you ask what her son-in-law's
what's
name
his
is?
name?
It's Carlos. Carlos Palazuelos.
Sorry, what's his name?
Carlos.
Carlos.
Yes.
And what's his last name?
Could you imagine if this woman were to rat out her son-in-law? Thank you, Mike, that took Nancy an underground tunnel to Mexico. Possible. It's possible. Thank you, Mike.
Suelos.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. So.
And does he work in Tucson? Would he ever be in Tucson?
He's in Tucson all week. He works delivering boxes for like UPS and he works with a company. And I told him you can call the company that he works there and verify that he's working. And
is your daughter also detained?
No, they just let my daughter and my grandkids go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Josefina.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the latest here, Jesse. They took her phone too,
Yeah,
her husband's phone, and her daughter's phone, and obviously her son-in-law's phone, and they are searching her house right now. So this is sort of an unfolding situation.
And I'll get into this with Arthur, the fact that they didn't have a search warrant according to her. Do you know where Carlos is right now, Brian?
Sweet Caroline, you are also the best. I don't forget about you. Maureen, thank you very much. My pleasure, Jared, she says. I appreciate all of your support, Maureen. You are the best.
Do we know where Carlos is right now?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. They took my phone. I can't reach with nobody.
So who are these people, though? That's what I want to know. Thank you for this. Printed photo mask under ski mask. Explains eyes. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Thank you. But who are her children? And how do they think she's related to the case? Or they're related to the case?
Yeah, we think he's being questioned.
Yeah, they already asked us a lot of questions about him. We told, like I said, I have nothing to hide. You can go in my house. You can search anything you want. There's nothing to hide. I don't know the lady. I don't know about the lady. I saw her on Facebook, but like I told you.
Was he ever violent? Any violence with Carlos?
No, he's a good guy.
Criminal history that you know of?
None of it.
No? Okay.
Is he from Tucson? Brian,
yeah, so I mean, that's sort of the situation. She's obviously in shock. Yeah.
Did you show her photos of the person outside of Nancy Guthrie's house? The images, the mask, the backpack. Did she identify any of those items of clothing? And nothing. She doesn't see anything in that.
I did, and let me show you again. Have you seen these photos?
Yeah, the detective showed them to me right now.
So someone in the chat says there's a rumor that the $300 that I have not seen anyone say $300, but there's a rumor that the money that went to the Bitcoin address that the ransom people used was tracked back to this person. That's the rumor. Don't take that as fact.
And the backpack? Does the backpack
He
look
doesn't
familiar?
have a backpack. He doesn't wear backpacks. He doesn't like either that. I don't know what gloves or something like that. I don't know
Yeah,
what they're
gloves. You see the boots?
Yeah.
Let me get you a
Oh, no,
closer
he doesn't.
picture. You
Huh?
see this here? Look at the look at the eyebrows. The eyebrows are very specific. You see how they're very manicured?
No, that's not him. Nope. I can assure you it's not him.
It's actually kind of wild that Brian Etten's even asking her this. Like, oh, by the way, do you want to incriminate whoever this person might be and put them on the suspect list? I mean, could you imagine her saying, oh, yes, that's my son-in-law, and now promptly arrest him for kidnapping and maybe murder?
Okay.
No, I can assure you. Like I told you, if I had my phone, I will show you a picture of him.
Okay.
I can show you.
Yeah, she wants to show me
Thank
a
you,
picture,
Mike.
but she doesn't have her phone. But she seems very...
Yes, this is all very close to the border. Thank you,
For
Mike.
sure. I mean, it's hard to tell with the mask, but but we've said if you knew the person, you would be able to recognize them.
But Brian, if you don't mind asking her, does she know where he was January 31st, February 1st?
Do you know where he was January 31st? You know when this happened? It would have been last Saturday night.
Well, he works from Monday through Friday. He's home Friday. He stays home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Goes back to work on Monday. So on the weekends, he stays at my house. He doesn't go nowhere. He stays where.
So was he at your house?
Yeah,
last
he
Saturday?
was. Yeah, he was here at my
Are
house.
you positive?
Yeah, I'm positive. He was here at my house.
Because this would have happened late Saturday and early into Sunday morning, like around 2 a.m.
Honestly, if I'm a defense lawyer, I tell this woman, stop talking to Brian Hinton right now, honestly.
Oh, no, he's always here for his kids on the weekend.
Could he have left in the night?
Oh, no.
No.
I'm pretty sure. He has his van that work. He uses the van that's outside. A van. It's broken. It's not working.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you...
Chris Corbo, there he is. But we got a super chat we got to read here. Thank you very much for this, Topo. No one will ever recognize the eyebrows, second to mask. That very well could be. I mean, no one's recognizing it so far. We'll see what the ID can say with the eyes, right? Who was I watching before this? I don't even remember. Chat, who was I watching before I switched to this? Yes, TMZ. Thank you.
Where that there was a camera there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thinking about someone who was, if they were a professional, if they knew what they were doing, if they had been studying her home for some time, this would be as simple as black tape over the camera.
Right.
He would have had
Camera's
that done and done. You know, if it was a professional, I'll be real, he wouldn't even be in front of the camera right now.
Right.
He would have done it from the side, come up from the side.
Right.
So this appears to be a guy who, I don't know, guy or girl.
Right.
We don't know. There is speculation out there that this could be a woman. People are looking at the facial hair. So let's go into the features here on this person. So I'm going to start with the first photo to pull up here.
Okay.
So you see him at the door there, and he's looking at the door. Then he notices the camera, and then he walks over to it. So let's bring up picture number 2.
So, Sammy, I usually start around 10 p.m. Eastern, and I go for around 3 hours usually, sometimes a little more. So, are you in the Arizona that's 2 hours behind or 3 hours behind East Coast?
And then, yeah, that's kind of where you see this holster, which is really concerning.
Right.
Oh, this is good information here in this super chat. Thank you, Mike. Go into an airport now, they scan your eyes. If that's true, that is very interesting. And maybe they would.
There's the weapon, right? Remember, there was ultimately, I'm not suggesting anyone has gotten shot or anything like that, but there was ultimately blood outside of the home too. Remember that?
Exactly, right where he is standing, allegedly. And then let's bring up the third picture, which is the picture I wanted to look at most importantly. This is what people are focusing on.
Yeah.
That looks like a goatee.
Yeah,
right.
You got the obviously above the lip, you got the facial hair, mustache, and then the soul patch or whatever you want to call it underneath the lip, certainly.
And this looks like, I mean, not looks like, this is black and white, but it's there's different types of black and white.
Yeah.
So this color beard, does it not look like Tommaso's beard too? It does to me.
So it's hard to tell what the color of this facial hair might be. To me, upon first glance, I'll be real, the eyebrows looked drawn to me, like very thin.
Yes.
But then if you look at the top of the mask, to combat what people are saying about that, if you look at the top of the mask, this is just, it looks like it's just the bottom of the eyebrows.
Okay, so maybe it's cut in, you don't see the full.
Right. So people thought that could be a woman because of the thin eyebrows. But then you look at this mustache, that's a dude to me.
Right. Unless it's a fake mustache, but I don't think anyone has suggested that. So yeah, I would think it would be a male. think if you look historically, who is it? Is it?
So Mike says, thank you, Mike. They don't have to agree for you to scan your eyes. No, I mean, I was just asking other people that go to the airport, do they scan everyone's eyes at the airport? But thank you, Mike.
Male, females that are behind crimes like this, I think you're almost always going to find that it's been a male. So this to me feels, and obviously, Brenton, we want to know who this is, but I think when for 10 days here now, we have got nothing. We have heard nothing from police. And finally, it feels like there is some sort of evidence. I know shortly after, I'm talking minutes after, Kash Patel releases the photographs and the video, Savannah Guthrie goes on and she goes to her social media page on Instagram and but she says, we believe she is still alive. Bring her home. So I think this has given the family a lot of hope too, Branson.
My question is, and there has been a lot of people speculating on who this could be.
Yeah.
I mean, before I get into this, I do want to mention that the reason it's taken so long, a lot of people are upset that this is the FBI. Why have we got these photos so late? We don't know the extent of tech here. This is appears to be a Nest doorbell. I can't confirm that exactly, but this is one of those Ring Nest type doorbells.
Yeah.
She didn't have the subscription. We've said that plenty of times here, but we all know this on our computers. When you delete something, it's not technically deleted. I'll give you an example. So I have a Tesla. I got into a car accident last year. They slammed into the back of my car, but I didn't have the thumb drive where it saves video and is recording.
Right.
All of a sudden, a year later, I look at my app in an area I hadn't looked, and I see this video, and it said incident report or whatever it was, and it was the crash. And I go, so there's a back end here in all these devices. And that's what this was, saying that they were able to uncover residual data located in back end systems. Maybe it took days to take it apart.
Right. So, and if she had the subscription, obviously it would have been much quicker, but that's great that they were able to retrieve this in any way, because I mean, we don't know what they've got. The FBI, they know these cases. They're the best at handling them. But so maybe they've got a trove of evidence, Branson. But I got to think that this is incredibly helpful to them.
Oh, it's very helpful. I mean, you got lots of, before they had nothing. They had no suspect, no imagery in their head. When you look at the photo, let's bring up the photo of, I believe it's photo 1. Let's bring up photo 1 of him standing at the door so you can get a look at the type of body. He looks like a stocky gentleman.
Yeah. I think, by the way, they'll try to find the backpack, the brand, the shirt, I mean, the jacket, all that stuff. And they will try and figure out if they can where those items were potentially purchased from.
There are a lot of paths here. He has the flashlight in his mouth as well. You can't really see that, but the type of gun they can look at, the type of holster that this person has. Maybe they ordered it recently on the internet. They can easily find that.
Hey, there was 30 of these ordered. And they go through each person. What do they look like? I mean, this opens up potential possibility.
Let's bring back photo number 3.
So what do you think, Chad? Is this a home invasion gone wrong and they winded up killing her? Was this a planned invasion / ransom? And was it an inside job? Which one do you think? Honestly, do you think this is, press 1 if you think it was supposed to just be a burglary, not an inside job, but it just went wrong? Number 1. Number 2, now it was an inside job and the whole goal was to capture her and try to get a ransom. That's number 2.
Photo 3, because this man, his eyes are fully seen in this. I mean, 3 and 4. His eyes are full on display here. The FBI has technology to identify pupils' eyes. They can enhance things like this too. They can completely enhance this.
So you wonder if that's something that they're trying with their software to do and get an identification.
I don't think this person knew that there was a camera there to begin with.
I do not either.
And I think that off the bat, this probably really startled this person. When they
so it looks like most people think it's a planned inside job. And then once it's a planned inside job, money's the goal or revenge. So press 1 for money, 2 for revenge or punishment.
when they saw this
Right.
upon
And
first
they panicked.
glance.
They're looking for
But
the brush.
Wouldn't you think that a person who was watching her, a professional or someone that had been planning
Yeah.
this, would at least drive by the home? Even from a distance, you can see a ring light or not ring
Right.
light, a ring camera on there. There's a lot of things here. There could have been a Tesla parked outside, and those things
agree.
are always recording,
Right.
as we know. And then the brush, super amateur to me. This seems like someone that, you know, I am not saying that, you know, any of this is whatever, but to me, I feel like this is maybe someone that they know, maybe.
Right. It absolutely could be. Obviously,
That
there
knows her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as random as
No, I don't either. And if it is someone in the family that they know, or not necessarily in the family, but it's just somebody that they know or they're familiar with, they may be able to look at these photos and say, hey, I know who that person is. I mean, obviously, you know, if that's someone that's very recognizable to you, even with the ski mask on, you can identify them.
And they got this morning. They've probably worked all day with forensics, analysis, digital analysis, facial recognition. I mean, the FBI has worked on the biggest cases ever.
Ransom kidnapping, that's like,
this is just
you know,
one guy
one of their bread and butter
in Arizona, in the middle of the vegetation, in the brush.
Yeah.
That I think that we are going to see a resolution in the next few days.
I think now too, Brenton, it gives them an idea exactly of when this was happening. They can potentially, on other people's cameras, they can follow maybe a path where the vehicle.
Thank you, Mike. And yes, an older lady with serious health problems alone is not going to make it far. Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
When it left with Nancy, I think there's a lot of possibilities now with this video.
And Savannah herself saying we believe that she is alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
hope. Well, because you touched on at the top, Brenton, that there was a second deadline in that video, that note we got on Tuesday, a week ago today, and there were very severe, the ultimate consequences in that note. If the money was not paid by last night.
And as we know, this weekend, I mean, I can't give an exact recent data search on this exactly, but I do know that when we had looked at that Bitcoin address, it was empty. There was no money inside of the wallet. But this is a good point. There was another message over the weekend to another station, or that one of the stations that had originally got the first letter. And in that message could have been a new Bitcoin address because they may have seen the
I'm not sure why you can't, Caroline. Sometimes you have to toggle things over a little bit. That's what happened the other day. That you could, but I'm not sure.
TMZ had went and looked at the original one.
Right.
And they're trying
that can
to
all be
keep things
tracked.
under wraps.
Right.
So,
Not necessarily that we could or anybody could determine who made the payment, but you can see if a payment was made.
It makes you wonder why. Let's talk about why would someone do this? Let's not try to speculate on who it is.
Yeah.
If it's somebody in the family or not, let's not speculate
money or
on that.
revenge.
Let's just talk about why would someone do this? Like, is this a business to them? Do they we don't see these cases very often, right? So this is
Who
not
kidnaps
something
an
that happens.
84-year-old woman. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, money or hatred and / revenge. I would think were the only two motives that make any sense to me.
So that first one. So Caroline, they can do it. I don't know why you can't. Facial recognition on a Temu mask won't help Nancy. We'll see. Yet to be seen. Nancy could have a roommate, cook, housekeeper. As far as I know, she didn't have any. She might have had a housekeeper. And she might have had a cook too at her age. I don't know. But those are good questions, Mike. But thank you both.
He made a good point on the internet, I read, saying that this is one, extremely rare, but for someone to pick someone that's so high profile, I understand that. But there's also the case of if this is something that you do, wouldn't we see people doing this? Like maybe someone goes to the nearest country club, finds there's a billion millionaires at those country clubs that you could target and find their parents, find their kids, whatever it is. This just doesn't happen in America.
Not in
This is,
America.
way out of place.
In other countries, I think you do see a lot of targeted kidnappings, but it's not something we see here.
Not something we see here at all.
This is not obviously a trend that's beginning.
So what do you think is next? What do you think is going to happen in the next 24, 48 hours?
I would not be surprised if, I'm not saying there is, I hope there is, but I for the first time feel like there could be a resolution imminently with this case, with this new information. I really feel like it's that important.
I really hope Nancy's okay. You
So
know,
do I. That's the scary part, is that she's, again, 84 years old, not in good physical health,
exactly.
needs medication.
And you know, if it is,
Sherry, that's a very good question. Did the camera also pick up if Nancy was dropped off at 9:45 p.m. and with who? Very good question, Sherry. I don't know the answer to that though, but I would be curious if the footage did see that as well.
is someone, if it ends up being someone that they know, I actually think that's maybe why they're holding on to hope right now, if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because if it's someone they know that kind of just got way over their head here and thought it'd be an easy ransom situation, then they probably have the hope that if it is somebody they know, maybe they don't want to hurt Nancy.
Right.
And they just wanted this to be something quick,
Right.
and they are keeping her safe. That's all that we can hope
That's what
for,
we hope.
is that she is safe. And I know Harvey has continued to reveal more information about the alleged ransom note. We have seen the authorities reveal more information, but there really just wasn't that much. It was straight to the point.
Yeah.
Well,
We're not going to communicate anymore. Pay me this money by this date, and that's it.
please, in the comments, we are going to read that. We always read the comments after this. Let us know what you guys think. Again, you know, they're asking the public for help here. And now that there's an image of this person, I think that people who may have noticed someone being suspicious, alarm bells might be going off, and they may find a suspect here.
Or if you
very
recognize
soon.
those eyes or that facial hair.
Again, so
all
many
of it.
paths here. You got the
Yeah.
shoes, you got the clothes, the backpack, the holster, the type of gun.
Right.
You can tell the type of gun sometimes just by looking at the way that the stock is. So we'll continue to be on this tomorrow morning. Hopefully we have a positive update for everybody. Charlie Cotton and Devin Roll will be back. On top of that, we do have comments here. So let's go through the comments. Nancy Guthrie, for her, Edwina, I think we had this person on before. I think I said that wrong. Is it Edwin or Edwina? Edwina. Okay. Nice to meet you. We're all assuming that he wasn't aware of the camera. If you're going to abduct an old lady, you have to take her through the front door. Leaving tape would be a high risk thing. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing something like this and you're leaving clues for the FBI, we don't know all of what he did anyway. We really don't.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
You want to get the next one, Babcock?
Yeah, sure. That is Annie Ann. Yes, looks like a woman with a fake mustache.
Yeah, that's a possibility
Could
too.
be.
Some people said that that it could be a woman, and that's why she's wearing so many layers, like covering up the figure. And then like the eyes look a little like feminine to me. But the eyebrows, I know what you're saying, but to me, I'm leaning towards a gentleman.
Right.
Not gentleman.
Right. A man, yeah.
Right. Diane Baker, those are roofing gloves for hot tarring.
Well, that's,
Probably thought that they wouldn't leave a trace.
Right. Or maybe it points to someone that's in that profession.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Espresso
Scary
Joe
thing.
says money. Next question. Yeah, I would think that's probably the most likely.
That's what the ransom note alleges.
Yeah. Won a lot.
Farrah Tittle says no one is talking about the home invasion 2 miles away on September 25th. Those guys are dressed similarly. Okay. If that's the case here, I mean, let's be real. We're all here speculating, coming up with our own theories, but the FBI, they're very smart in what they're doing. They'll get to the bottom of this. They will get to the bottom.
Yep. They're the best at it.
A miscellaneous comment. Regina Carroll, never seen a real live. Well, welcome.
There we are.
We do this now every day in the afternoon. It's really sad that we've had to bring this news to you every single day. It's the biggest story in the world right now, but
it's amazing how it's captured the attention of the country, and it's like you feel like that's your mom or your grandma, and
every station is on this right now.
Everyone.
Fox News, CNN, everybody is on
it's
this.
a constant.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow morning we will be back. TMZ podcast. Babcock and I will be back tomorrow afternoon to give you more updates and hopefully a positive one and maybe another positive story. Thank you.
A bombshell tip from cyber sleuths has led to a potential breakthrough in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case, pointing fingers at a close friend of the family with a shady past and an eerie resemblance to the masked intruder caught on camera. So this could unravel everything we thought we knew about who might be behind the 84-year-old's disappearance from her Tucson home. I'm Joseph Morris, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's jump right into this major update, and thanks to everyone who commented on my last video and tipped me off about this guy. So meet Dominic Aaron Lee Evans, the longtime friend and former bandmate of Tommaso Cioni, who is married to Nancy's daughter Annie. Dominic is a Tucson musician and the founding drummer of the indie post-punk band Early Black, which he started back in 2007 with Tommaso on bass and vocals, plus Walter I. Gonsalves Jr. on guitar and vocals. The band stayed active for years, and sources confirm Dominic and Tommaso are still good friends today. But here's where it gets interesting. Public records.
So let's go back to this for a second. This, it looks more like it could be this than, I don't know. Look at those eyes. Does those eyes look similar to that masked man? Not as much of a beard, but do the eyes look similar?
Today. But here's where it gets interesting. Public records from Pima County show Dominic has a serious criminal history, including arrests for felony, burglary, robbery, embezzlement, and DUI. Now, with the new Nest doorbell footage out there showing that masked figure in latex gloves, many are saying he bears a striking resemblance to none other than Dominic. So think about it. Those eyes, the eyebrow.
So on a side note, I took a peek at JLR's channel, and he's watching people search the car of the DoorDash driver, apparently. So maybe one of the children of that woman Brian was interviewing. What they're looking for on the phones, I have no idea. What they're questioning about, I have no idea. Maybe it's about the Bitcoin that someone mentioned before. But what do you think of this? Eyes similar or no? Doesn't really look as similar here.
And the goatee, all lining up in a weird way. One viewer noted how the eyes look similar, though Dominic's appear more downturned to me, but the camera angle, which was lower, might be playing tricks since the intruder's looking down. And get this, the lips to me match up as well, right down to a similar scar. The man in the Nest Cam footage seems to have a scar above his lip that makes facial hair hard to grow there.
So apparently he's saying this is the band mate, because that's not Tommaso on the left. That's the other person in the photo. So is he reading too far into this, or does that look like the same scar? Same scar? Or is he looking too far into it? What do you think, chap?
And both have that patchy look in their beards. And here's another detail that's hard to ignore. The intruder appears to duck his head slightly as he comes into view of the Nest camera, almost like he knew exactly where it was positioned and was trying to obscure his face or avoid a clear shot. That kind of awareness suggests someone who might have prior knowledge of the home's security setup, possibly from being around the family or the property before. Given Dominic's close ties to Tommaso, he could have easily had access or inside knowledge about Nancy's home layout and routines. In fact, one eagle-eyed viewer pointed out that it appears that the door was sort of jammed so that he could easily get in. And it almost looks like he is able to get inside the door, like it was jammed open for him. And there he is trying to get bushes to obscure the camera so that they can't see him. And then he obscures the camera. Yeah, so Nancy's doorway had a big gate on the front of it. So how was he able to enter the...
So this guy's name is Joseph Morris. And so far, he might be on to something with this. I'm not sure yet, though.
Door. This suggests the possibility that the door was somehow left open for him and suggests the possibility that this was an inside job. So what do you think? Do they look similar to you? Could Tommaso have hired his old friend to pull this off, given his old friend's history?
So this looks like there's more of the eyes revealed in any of the other pictures I've seen. But does that look like it could be? Is he altering these to make them look more similar? I don't know, but it does kind of look a little similar here. I don't know, but the mouth is different. The mouth is different, so it's hard to say.
And experience in this sort of arena, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your theories. Adding to the suspicion, remember that neighbor who reported a suspicious white vehicle circling the area around the time of Nancy's disappearance? It almost screams getaway car. And right after this footage dropped, Brian Enton reported that search and rescue crews are now going door to door near Annie's house, which is just 4 miles from Nancy's place. Brian also noted that law enforcement is searching the brush now in Annie Guthrie's neighborhood, expanding the sweep into surrounding areas that could hold clues. The activity around Annie's home has ramped up even more as I'm posting this video. Pima County Sheriff's deputies are going door to door in her neighborhood, with reports indicating 3 deputies were present at a residence just 2 houses down from Annie's. Law enforcement has also been spotted directly across the street from Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni talking to their neighbor. So could a tip have led to this major activity? And did that tip stem from the footage just released? Because these targeted searches so close to the family suggest investigators may be zeroing in on something specific in that immediate area. Shifting to more chilling evidence, new details reveal blood droplets scattered on Nancy's porch formed a trail from the front entrance all the way to the edge of the driveway. Authorities have confirmed through testing that the blood belongs to Nancy herself, but law enforcement hasn't shared anything about possible injuries or if this ties directly to the masked individual seen slipping into her home on that surveillance footage. But I can just imagine that they had a getaway car at the end of that driveway to take Nancy away, which kind of makes you wonder who was driving that getaway car. Brian Enton, writing about insights from law enforcement sources he's spoken to, shared this, quote, "The more law enforcement I talk to, the more telling me the person doesn't look overly sophisticated or professional. The way the gun is holstered and not immediately ripping off the camera. Cartel, for example, would have been more efficient, they say," end quote. Yeah, I mean, that intruder was holding that gun in an awkward manner. It was in between his legs in a holster, just out in the open. I mean, this to me just screams amateur hour rather than a polished criminal operation. Amid all this darkness, there's a sliver of hope. Savannah Guthrie has publicly stated that the family does believe that Nancy is still alive, clinging to that as they push for more leads.
So apparently more news is there's multiple persons of interest out there. Brian Etten didn't say that yet, but I'm not sure who did.
So in my opinion, this spotlight on Dominic feels like a game changer with his criminal record, that uncanny resemblance to the intruder, and now the possibility he knew the Nest camera's exact location, raising serious red flags about possible insider involvement. The intensified activity around Annie's neighborhood, door-to-door searches, deputies at nearby homes, and conversations right across the street only adds fuel to questions about family connections. But while it's tempting to zero in on ties like Tomasco's friendship with Dominic, we can't ignore how abductions often stem from opportunistic outsiders preying on...
Hey, Kelly, we're trying this guy out. I wanted to see what it was all about. He made this video today. We've never watched him before, so I'll give anyone a chance.
Vulnerabilities, like Nancy's isolated home, and obviously she is the mother of a very wealthy woman, which is Savannah Guthrie, the co-host of the Today Show. I think she's worth about $50 million. So to me, this kind of possibly also screams organized crime. Still, if these dots connect, it could expose a betrayal close to home. Because do you remember how Ashley Banfield, the former News Nation host and now has her own YouTube show, came out and spilled the beans that a source in law enforcement told her that the son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, is the prime suspect. Anyway, this information is going viral right now. So here's hoping the ongoing searches and the FBI's role bring clarity and get Nancy back safe before it's too late, because I think she requires serious medication, and without it, she could possibly pass away. So let's bring Nancy home and get this footage out there. I'll leave the FBI contact information in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment because I try to read every single one. Thank you.
We begin tonight with the break.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, right? Where that footage has to be before the blood would be on the front step, right? BS has been confirmed. No family is suspect. Get ready to be sued. Well, you mean Ashley Banfield will be sued? According to what I read, Nancy would leave her doors unlocked, but who knows if that is true or not. That seems wild to do in this day and age, but you never know. So I don't know, though. I'm not sure if I would put that together so that it is one of those people. Kind of similar, but not enough for me to say one way or the other. And as far as the other videos here, there's really not much else to go over. I mean, we go back to Tony or finish the Ashley Banfield video, but they don't really have anything going on. There's nothing else going on out there. But I'm also thinking I should try to go on some of these locations at some point. Because all of this is my job. So it's like, why not? Why not go on to these locations? I have to invest in all the equipment. Well, I'll probably have to do this to earn the funds. And then when I can, travel around. But again, how often do cases like this happen? I mean, this is a pretty rare. I mean, we're coming on a few cases here in a row. Rob Reiner and wife, Michelle Reiner. Michael McKee allegedly killing Spencer and Monique. And now this one. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, 3 huge cases. An ICE agent who does background checks for federal agents, DHS and ICE, for a prostitution ring. That's disturbing. Yeah, that would be disturbing, Bella, for sure. Yeah, Reiner, his arraignment's coming up February 23rd, by the way. Did we all forget about that? Or he's yesterday's news now, right? Oh, who cares about Nick Reiner? But February 23rd is his special day. I wonder if they're going to try to push that back again. There's a warrant currently being served, but to search that family's house. What happened to Kat? Did someone break into her home? Kat, you got to be careful over there. George knows that. All right, Danielle. You have a great rest of your night here. We're about to wrap this up here in a minute, too. There's not much else to go over. It seems like the most news is right when I go live. That's when there's news at the end of the day. And it probably helps that I'm 2 hours in front of them. They're trying to break into your home, Kat? How did they... Got to stay safe across the pond there, Kat. Very good. I'm glad you moved out of there. You got it, Jolly. 1:30 a.m. Yep, that's where I am, D. East Coast time. Although the other candidate in the chat is 1 hour in front of me. I didn't realize Nova Scotia is 1 hour in front of me, but it is. Yes, all right, everybody. I'll sign off here too. So, Jolly, Danielle, Kat. No Ellie tonight, by the way. Bella, you have a great night. Sweet Caroline. Hopefully those super chats work for you again. I don't know what the hell happened with that. Mike, thanks for all the super chats. Can you show the suspect picture again? Well, we can pull it up here real quick.
A bombshell tip from cyber.
There it is. See him? There's the picture. Thank you, Bella. Thank you, Gypsy, for being here. Yes, you better all make sure you like the video out there and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thank you very much for all the super chats and the memberships. I appreciate you all. And of course, I'll be back again tomorrow night. And we'll see if there's any news between now and then. You never know. I think Kat liked it, but you never know. Don't let that happen, Livin. Now, Arizona's 2 hours behind me, so it's 11:25 p.m. there. Jay, thanks for modding tonight. Livin, thanks for modding tonight as well. Teresa, good night. The real suspect has been pulled over in traffic stop near border. He's Mexican? Maybe. If he's a real suspect, I don't know. Yeah, it is a high-end backpack. You're right. Hellside Supply, good night. Teresa, good night. Everyone else, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You can stay on the channel, just not in the live stream. You can also comment on the video once it's posted. But all right, everybody, have a great rest of your night. Thank you, George.